Inside the House, episode 2. This is a very exciting episode. We went all the way to Aqualisa's head office at Westerham and we interviewed many members of staff, huge amounts of history, or everyone from the person who picked and packed the very first box over 40 years ago, right through to the current CEO of Aqualisa. We covered everything from innovation, recycling, people, the business, the industry, talking about the actual recycling, packaging, responsibility as a manufacturer. There's some footage of us going around and seeing the manufacturing because they're a UK manufacturer, which is supremely exciting for us with UK businesses. Some great stuff coming up in 2019. Don't forget to follow, subscribe on social media and share it. Share the love. Freda, did you always want to work for Aqualisa?
No.
Childhood dream? No?
No.
Okay. So, sorry, where did you start?
Well, I was working in Sevenoaks in a printing firm,
Yep.
and I was working with a friend, and she went for an interview, and I was thinking of sort of changing a job, and I went down with her on the off chance, and this was with Derek Goldsmith, who was the inventor of our shower. Anyway, we was in there, she was having this interview, then he turned to me and he said, what are you doing here, sort of thing. I said, well, I thought I'd just pop in and see if I could have an interview, see how it goes. So we had this interview, and basically, at the end of it, I got a letter through getting the job and my friend didn't.
No way.
Yes.
Oh dear. That's not good, is it? No. Did you get her job?
I did.
Oh no. That's good. And what was the job for?
Well, I started on assembly.
Assembly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just putting little bits and pieces together, and that's where I started. Anyway.
Was that the thermocoil back then? Or?
Yes, it was. It was the thermocoil. And Derek Goldsmith, he would be putting these coils together.
Yep.
And then we'd just put all the little other pieces, with it.
Yep.
The shower head, hoses. That was pretty much all it was just the valve.
Yep.
And the hose and a shower head.
Yep. And it was only exposed back then, would it?
Yeah, it was just exposed, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. And then, so you've seen the evolution. How long were you on assembly line for?
Oh, well, we moved from, we was in Sevenoaks for a couple of years, and then we moved over here.
Yep.
And so I was working assembly for about 20 years.
20 years on assembly line?
It must have been, yeah.
And what other interesting things have you assembled? Obviously, the thermocoil was one part.
That was
then over the years, now there's so many new products. So.
Oh, the next big thing really that hit us was the digital.
Yep.
And I can remember it all went mad, and I can remember getting this first order ready, and I think it was for Freud's.
Yep.
And it was just getting this order ready and done for Freud's.
Yep.
And it was quite manic. The directors, everybody was in there helping.
Assembling and packing,
yeah, just
boxes.
get it in those.
Yeah.
We've got to get this done, So that was the next big thing,
Yeah.
to.
So Aqualisa have continued the innovation with. We'll find out later today, but they've continued the innovation with digital, with all the new ranges going forward, and obviously, Freud's next year closing down. Is that right?
I've no idea.
Yeah,
I've no idea about that.
So you've mentioned that before. I haven't moved with the times, unlike Aqualisa, unfortunately.
Yep.
And they feel that the market going forward could potentially be a bit unstable for them. So next year in January,
because this is what I've felt that this company is, or the people, in fact.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you can't. As I say, I've been here 40 years, so I have seen a lot of changes.
Of course, yeah.
And you can't just sit back. You've got to look for, you've got to look forward. You can't rely on what's gone before.
No.
You've got to be on it and ahead.
Got to keep changing.
You've got
and evolving.
to. I'm quite elderly now, and the young ones are coming through, obviously,
Yeah.
But I still feel I've got you just got to get on, get it, do it. And I've always thought we've always been very innovative with our products.
100%. Well, that is part of Aqualisa's heritage. Certainly, is the innovation of the thermocoil. I think it's probably where it started, really, because that was innovative in itself, and it's continued through digital.
Yep.
And then today, some of the new digital with the new Q. Obviously, some of the other ranges and collections. Obviously, the Premier, for instance.
That's it. Yeah.
Is just reworking every single part of the industry, every different sector of bathroom showrooms, online, trade counters, the sheds. They've got different offerings in every single part. And that's probably the reason why they're successful going forward, is that they haven't just sat still on one product for 40 years. They've continued to evolve, and that's where there's a big difference. With when you were sort of at school, what did you want to do? Did you have a dream of being like, some people want to be a policeman or a spaceman, or do you mean?
I quite fancy being an archaeologist, actually.
An archaeologist?
Yes.
Oh, cool. That's really good.
Very interested in history.
Yeah. No, that's good. The reason I ask is that a lot of young people are leaving school and they don't know what they want to do. They don't understand what they need, what they want to do in future, and they feel that they're going to suddenly leave school and find their dream job overnight. Is it a bit harder than that?
Yes, exactly. I think it is.
Yeah.
I feel really they're not prepared for the outside world.
No.
I think schools do not prepare you. I walked out of school on the Friday, and I was in a job on the Monday.
Yep.
Worked every day since.
Yes.
But I was not prepared for the outside world.
No, that's true. And that's something that we're passionate about as well, as young people in our industry. Obviously, you just mentioned exactly the scenario. You leave school, then you want to find a job. Probably didn't know what you wanted to do. You got a job because it was a job.
It was a job.
Yeah, 100%. And then from there, people today are sort of, they feel like within 3 months they need to be running the company, and they do. That because everything's so fast with the likes of Instagram and Facebook and social media, and straight away they see these people on these channels where overnight they can, I'm a millionaire and I've got a Ferrari, but life isn't necessarily like that for.
It's not at all like that. It's it's a different world out there. When I can remember, just stepping through the door, my first job. You don't know what's going on, and then they give you your wage packet in those days with money in.
A little brown envelope
money, and. No one would advise you, you really ought to start a pension, or, you should put a little bit by. There was none of that, no help, no, and this is how you open a bank account, or this is what, none of that. So you were really, but I mean, to be fair, the young ones of today are a little bit more technically aware.
Yep. Not all of them, though.
But I still think they lack a bit of common sense, because I'm not all that technically with it.
Yeah.
But I feel I've got a little bit of common sense.
That's good. And what do you do now?
I work in the dispatch department.
Yep, dispatch. So, and you sending out the packages, physically sending them out?
No, what I do is that all the boys have got the what they call these guns.
Yep.
Yeah, and you zap all the barcodes.
Yep.
So basically, I'm sitting at my desk and I will allocate all the orders to their guns for them.
Yep.
And then I have
picking, is that?
For picking.
Yep.
So they do all the daily orders, and then if there's any larger customers or larger orders, pallet quantities, then I'll allocate to a different area.
Okay.
Staged area it's called.
Yep.
And then if I need one of the boys to do that, then they'll get on their gun and they go into the staged area on their gun.
Yep.
And they'll do the pallet quantities for me.
Okay. Busy here?
Busy. It's always busy. Never stops.
That's good. Yeah, non-stop picking and packing.
I've never stopped working. But yes, it's very busy. Yeah.
Is it? That's good. Really good.
It is good, yeah.
Perfect. What was it like packing the first item now, reflecting back? Going back, packing these and sipping them out, and sort of like, I don't know, reminiscing the heritage of Aqualisa, I suppose, and your heritage of your life.
Well, I can remember, as I say, starting, and there was only a couple of benches and a couple of chaps on the lathe machines. That was about it over Seven Oaks. A very small unit. So there we are. We're putting these things together. And to be honest, we don't really know what all these things are, And then, as the months go by, we hear, this is going to be on Tomorrow's World.
Yeah.
Goes on Tomorrow's World. And then a few months later, then all of a sudden we've got our first order.
Yep.
Oh my God. So I think it was for 10 units. I know it was for a fixed unit, fixed head unit.
Yep.
And it was for 10. And to be honest, I can't remember who the very first customer was now. But I can remember there was only about 6 or 7 of us, all gathered round this box, putting these 10 units in there, and we were huffing and puffing and polishing and checking everything.
Yep.
And that was it. That was our 10 went out the door.
Yep.
And that was our first shipment.
But you never thought you'd be there for 40 years, did you?
No, I didn't, to be honest.
No.
It's not something... I mean, I've had other jobs, but, I mean, I never thought I'd be somewhere for 40 years.
No.
Never entered my mind.
No. And it's very traditional. I think people used to spend a long time in their job. It's becoming less popular. Nowadays, people change around every 2 to 3 years, get itchy feet. And
very rare I'll speak to anybody of a similar... how long you've been there, and... Very rarely, and when we have visitors come through, they always come through the warehouse, and I'm the last stop as they come through my office, have a little sweet, and off they go.
Yep. Looking forward to that later then.
Yeah, they're there. And, you sort of say 40 years, but to me 40 years, it's just, it's gone. It really has gone quickly,
That's
to be
good.
fair.
Perfect.
So it's flown by.
When, so Aqualisa innovation continuously moving forward, and digital came along, what was that? You mentioned it was a big oomph, and it sort of went. But how did that feel being part of that?
Well, sort of leading up to it, you kept hearing, because we were sort of making things. They were making things. I wasn't so much involved in the assembly area then, but I was aware of things going through the line, and they were different to what was normally going through the line. And so there was this buzz going around. There was something coming. There was something coming through, And then we had everybody was brought into one of the rooms, and then it was unveiled.
Yep.
So they've taken it all down, and you looked at it and you thought, my God, because it was all lights and
flashing lights.
Yeah. Which was just so different,
Yep.
And I thought at the time, I thought, God, this is good. I was thinking, and because it's sometimes, to be fair, some things might come through and you think, oh yes, and it's quite a nice looking shower, and you might go online and have a look at some of these showers. They look quite nice, but they're all pretty much of a muchness. But when this was unveiled, I did think, I thought this is good. I thought this was going to be good.
Yeah, and you were right.
And I was right.
Yeah.
It's not often I'm not right, but I was right.
Won the lottery numbers then. Have you ever been allowed into the design area, where the innovation design, the R&D department? Have you ever been allowed in there? Because it's a bit of a locked door, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I haven't been in there. No.
Maybe they should get you in there, because you know what's going to be good and bad. So you should have.
They
should have involved you in the R&D, shouldn't they?
They could have been.
They could have showed you stuff, and instead of wasting some designs where sort of, this is all good, and it's not going to be good, you could say, scrap that.
I would have gone, I don't like the look of that.
Yeah, it ain't worth it. Put money on that one instead.
I'll go for that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, really good. Well, thank you very much indeed for your time. It's been awesome having you to talk about.
Pleasure.
Thank you, FREDA. Thank you. So, as head of digital brand and design, yes, you played a big part in the Q and some of the innovation around that.
Yes.
So, with the motivation, what was the big challenge with Q? The motivation for it.
There were many challenges, and I think they could probably split them into two groups. One is continuing to try and promote the features of digital and smart showering.
Yep.
And communicate those to a wider audience, because we know that the people that have experienced it, digital showering over the years, absolutely love them, especially little things like the remote control. Once you've had that experience and get used to starting your shower from outside the shower cubicle, maybe as you walk into the bathroom, it's one of those, it sounds a bit sad, and we know it's a bit of a first world problem.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
But
first world problems, putting my hand in the shower and getting cold for a split second. Yeah. But I agree,
we get used to these conveniences, don't we? It's the same with anything in the kitchen or other parts of the house. TV remote controls, I'm sure, had the same backlash to begin with. But with showering, once you walk into the bathroom, press a button, when it stops flashing, it tells you it's ready. You can jump straight in, maybe after brushing your teeth. It's a part of someone's daily routine. But we know
people brush their teeth before they have a shower. I thought it was the other way around.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe I'm just odd. Anyway, count on you. Sorry.
I think basically the more people we can expose that to, the more people will start to understand the benefits of it. And obviously we need installers to understand the benefits, both for them and for the consumers. So Q was very much focused around that. However, it was a build on Aqualisa's heritage in the digital sector. Obviously, Aqualisa invented it back in 2001 with the quartz product, which is a very solid mainstay. but we wanted to also offer more and almost show off a little bit with the features and benefits that are potentially available. So the queue is just over there on the wall behind us, so if I keep pointing over there, that's why.
Yep, that's fine, don't worry.
So, little things like we wanted it to be quite personal. Mm-hmm. So we know that personalisation is a big trend, but we didn't want to just jump on a trend because it was a trend. So we know that Aqualisa as a brand is familiar enough to those that know it, is friendlier and is relational, and days like today is a great example of that. You'll get to hear from some of the people here who've been here for a long time. I've been here for 7 years already, and we like to think our customers can engage with us on that level as well, and the contact centre upstairs is fantastic for that.
I think installers definitely connect with Aqualisa as a brand. It's something for their point of view, they can fit it easily. It's easy to install. It's fast, which makes it better for them because they can do more work and install more products, and it just works. I think there's so many installers I speak to on a weekly basis that literally say, just go there, install it. Customers love it, ease of use, and especially with the quartz, you don't have to be technically minded to use it. It's a button to turn
one
on
or two
off.
buttons.
Two maybe if it's a pumped version. And then that's why for me the Q is a little step away from that simplicity, and it's obviously a balance of the challenge of don't want to scare people off with essentially a smart shower that's too smart to use, but on the other side of it of one that is moving with the times, because
that's exactly right. So the way that the user journeys are designed is that if maybe you've got a family member coming to stay over Christmas, or a guest, or just not wanting to do too much complicated in the morning, that it is as simple as a quartz on the surface. So there's one touch to turn on the water. The screen wakes up as you get near it, and it's just to push the lever to turn the water on. The same rotary dial on the outside as quartz. So and pushing and holding the lever to change the outlet again is very similar to other Aqualisa digital showers. However, if that's the end of your journey, that's the end of your journey. That's absolutely fine. You've had a shower. At the end, it tells you how much time you've used, and that's it. However, there is a lot more if people want to engage with it on that level, but we very much wanted to have that simple to use user journey as well. So, and often I think if you're selling it in, then you obviously either as internally with the business, or when sales teams are selling it to consumers, they want to talk about the best thing that could be a hook for that person as a benefit, but that might not be the right thing for them. It's almost like they need to look through the menus once they've got it installed at home and find out which of the many features adds value to them and their routine. And some will for some, and some won't. So, for instance, I personally quite like running both outlets during the warm-up phase. So that if you change during the shower, you don't get hit with a cold slug of water.
Good idea.
For someone that needs that, that's great. But for someone it doesn't often change during the shower, it doesn't matter to them. Or you can set it to which outlet it comes out of very quickly.
To begin with,
And again, something like bath fill. Bath fill, we know that for those. So I've got a shower over a bath, and I've got young kids, and in a family scenario like that, the bath fill features are absolutely fantastic with Q. So they're actually built into every single Q that is sold. And at point of installation, if there's a bath outlet, then that menu is activated by the installer, and suddenly you can set your depth and record up to 9 bath settings as well.
And they're massively safe from that point of view, because I haven't got the a queue for my bathroom. I've just got traditional taps, but obviously having a 1.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, the hot taps can be with combi, so they're exceptionally hot. Because of the start-up phase and the cool-down phase of a combi, sometimes if you turn the tap back on again, you get really hot water. Really, because it ramps right up, it can be really hot. So you suddenly get a real sudden phase of literally scalding hot water sat in the boiler. And that's the good thing about using the smart digital showers, because you don't get any chance of that.
So the Quartz Smart Valve, it's the same platform that Quartz has been selling under for 10 years, but obviously evolved through that time. Currently checks the temperature is stable 10 times every minute. So you're always confident that it's that it, like you say, is safe for the user.
Yep.
And bath fill is great. It's so you can set I've different depths set for the different ages of kids.
Okay,
and
wow,
then, kind of
and that measures the water going in, yeah?
So it's all based on a timer. So
Yep.
you just set it to whatever depth you want and then store that, and then next time you just load that one up and walk away. So obviously manually you've still got to put the plug down.
Yep.
But you don't have to then worry about it. If you're cooking downstairs, it will turn itself off and
Of course.
the bath will be ready.
That's good. And how do you guys come across the decision of the different menu presets? Because there's one called Sport, for instance, which intrigued me when I first saw it for the first time. It's like, what is a sport version of
no, that's a good question, because it's very subjective. And again, what we're trying to do is add value to people's routine and normal life, introduce them to a way of engaging with the product with more features and benefits, but try and do it in a way that's familiar. So the car industry is great at this, and I do reference quite a bit the way that they explain features to people and the benefits of them. So a sport and eco mode and maybe a comfort mode is quite normal now for people in a lot of cars. So there was a lot of debate that went around internally. We based it on some market research as well. And for us, sport was either sport as a shower kind of mode was either very hot, muscle relaxing, or very cold, and for the health benefits that way. So we went with the hot one, but we did create another one called Refresh, which is the cooler option. So on Q Edition, you've got 6 of those presets built in. On Q, it's 3 of them. But again, one of them is called Family Mode. So that one will automatically turn the water off at the end of the timer in case it's a younger person, and so the homeowner who's paying the bill doesn't have to worry about water being wasted. The preset temperature on that one's nice and low, so it's safe for a younger person. And what we try to do is take the smartness that Q has and build some of those features into these modes. So for instance, the water save feature, which we don't recommend on combis, just to be like you mentioned, the way that combis can work can be a little bit it's clever for what they do, but it's not ideal for the shower. But the water save feature in itself is fantastic. If you step away from Q by more than about half a metre, the flow rate will drop to minimum. As you go back towards it, it will automatically go back to how you had it. So that mode is built into the eco mode. So as soon as you engage eco mode on Q, you're getting that benefit. So it's that cleverness doing things on your behalf as a user without you having to sort of plan it or worry about it. And for me, that's a good definition of smart.
It is, because I suppose as soon as you sort of move away to, if you're doing your hair, for instance, or you're just lathering up, for instance, in the shower, that's obviously, you naturally stand away from the shower to do that, as you wouldn't get any soap on you. That's making sense. And if it's only every day, every week of every user, then little bits of saving a few litres here, a few litres there, that's a huge impact over a period of time.
Definitely. And that's exactly, like you said at the beginning, kind of where's Q compared to quartz? Well, it's exactly those types of features. Sensing, electronic sensors have moved on so much since quartz was first invented that we've just put in what we can for now. Obviously, there's loads more ideas for future innovations to come, but we really want to help grow that digital smart market, be the leaders in it as we invented it. So we feel like there's a responsibility to keep pushing the boundaries, but whilst also making it simple to use for daily routines. And something as simple as the pinch grip, that one-handed pinch and slide up the riser rail is something we're very proud of. And so even things like that, they've been constantly improved over the years with tweaks and adjustments to make it even more robust and reliable.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that for next, what's going to be next in the showering? I mean, not only obviously fashion plays a huge part in the future of showering. You've got fashion, technology obviously is moving at 100 miles an hour with smart devices, Alexas and the Google Homes and Apple. So who's going to win that market? Who knows? But there's a huge innovation there with smart for the house. What's sort of coming down the line that you can talk about?
Well, there's obviously a lot I can't talk about, but
I'm sure,
as you've alluded to, if you've got the way that I often summarise it is if you've got Apple and Google and Amazon investing into the smart home ecosystem to the extent they are, then we know it's not going anywhere. 100%. It's not some fad that's going to go pop and disappear. and I think the voice activation side of things is definitely something that's helping people interact with those products rather than it being a little bit more of a techie side note. There's more chance of different parts of your home being linked together. So that's definitely one aspect that we're investigating. But linked to that and beyond that, I think there's still a lot more benefits. So I touched on the health benefits earlier with the hot versus cold shower.
Yep.
There's a lot more we can do as we educate people about the way our bodies are absorbing. So even the paint we have in our homes and offices, the carpets, the lighting, there's a lot that our bodies get bombarded with, and the water that we put through our taps as a country. Obviously, we're very, very fortunate to have the great clean water we have that's safe to drink compared to other parts of the world, but at the same time, it's still loaded up with chemicals and chlorines and fluoride and all sorts that might not be good for us. And as those that are keen to investigate that further, we'll see the health benefits. We've seen the rise in vegan food, and people are more health conscious, and I think showering is a huge part of that and has got huge potential. So straight away there you've got a whole avenue of potential future products, but they're also linked to the technology, because it's often the sensors that we now put into our products that can tell us what the state of affairs is and hopefully change things for the better.
Yeah, 'cause I mentioned it earlier with, like, if you go back sort of like 10 years ago with the fitness industry, people weren't going out walking and running like you see today so much. The gyms weren't as popping up everywhere. Yeah. So people are taking, although it's taking a long time, they are definitely getting more and more into the fitness, the well-being, the health. You mentioned about the food types. Every other person today's got a food allergy. And so all these things are probably based on what we put into our bodies at some point, and they're causing these issues, and you're probably quite right to say that. But on the other side, we say about innovation with the likes of the smart home systems as a complete ecosystem. All of these devices today are probably quite new to people and a bit scary to some people. Like, I talk to people, I don't want it listening to what I'm talking about and that kind of stuff.
Fair comments.
But going forward, that's today. But going forward, that'll be the norm. People didn't like the internet going back 20 years ago.
Right.
People didn't like mobile phones because they were going to cause all these different problems. 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, but now it's a normal.
That's right.
I only know about I still only know, I think 2 people haven't got a mobile phone. Everyone's got one.
And try and buy one without a camera in it now.
It's
you have to buy a deliberately niche one that's basic for robust outdoors or something like that, don't you?
And even those, most of them have got cameras nowadays, for instance. But so it's very difficult with smart stuff. That's cool. Did you always want to be into R&D design and branding and design, innovation? Did you leave school doing that?
Yes, so there were 2 distinct choices. One was obviously, like many teenage boys, going to be a pro footballer.
Okay, cool.
So I've always been very sporty, and just had to sort of play the odds in terms of likelihood of that coming to be. But the design, product design, gadgets, technology, that's always been there, definitely. So I was, as a child, I wanted to do car design.
Okay, cool.
I was drawn many...
What Ferrari or something?
Probably more like your sort of, Aston Martins or
nice.
Jaguars or... so car design, but same sort of ethos really. The concept and the shape of the way things look, but also we call it ergonomics, how you interact with things and how to use them, and then layered on top of that would be the features and the benefits of technology that we've kind of already covered in the showering context. But I've always been a designer at heart. I like to solve problems and try and help people's lives be better. If that's something as normal as the shower they take every morning or evening, it can actually make a huge difference. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I do like my coffee. I like a good coffee.
Good coffee in the morning.
And for me, a really good shower. If you've not had a good shower, if you've had a bad shower.
Yeah, not woken up. Don't really start your day.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. If you stay at a B&B or maybe a family members and the shower's not good, then it's something that we do clock it. So
we have a rubbish electric shower at work. It doesn't sort of really cut it, mainly to the water pressure. But at home, so Aqualisa shower, and you do tend to find that decent shower in the morning sort of wakes you up and vibrant.
Definitely.
And then I go downstairs and have an espresso coffee, and then off you go for the day.
Worlds.
Best of both worlds on the way for the day. That's really good. If you was to leave school today, you could have been a pro footballer on FIFA.
Paid to play.
Paid to play, and you probably make more money
Yeah. I think
than a pro footballer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, or a
crazy.
racing driver. They do the academies, don't they? Nissan.
Do they?
So to spot talent. So I think they were originally doing it as a way to spot talent for the real racing drivers. But like you say, now there's competitions and professionals,
Is there?
sports
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. That's
doing
going to be the
it
new era.
virtually.
We talked about evolution earlier and how things change, and Freddie was mentioning how things at Aqualisa have changed through the years, and I was just trying to relate quickly back to it. If you think footballers may not be footballers in the future, they may be FIFA footballers, but hey, just an interesting concept about evolution.
Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you very much for your time. Really
Okay.
good. Yeah,
Pleasure.
really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So product manager now. But you were obviously a service engineer before.
Yeah.
How long were you a service engineer?
So, I'll sort of take you back to how it began initially. So when
Good, yeah.
I left school, I went to sixth form, left when I was 18, didn't know what I wanted to do at all. I live 5 minutes up the road, so I've always been local to the area.
Yep.
I had no idea this was even here. I got the job actually working in the office upstairs, just in the call centre, back when I was 18. Again, after I accepted the role, I still didn't know what the firm did at the time. It was, I'd sort of turn up on my first day and I was like, oh, shout, okay, fine. Whatever.
Customer service.
Yeah, exactly.
It
It
is,
was
yeah.
computers, whatever, you sort of go with that. The company are lovely. I mean, I must admit, I obviously don't have anything to compare it to. I worked at Waitrose and, did some Saturday jobs here and there when I was younger. But the people have always been brilliant. From the management all the way down, everyone sort of cares. It's that kind of, it's a large company, but it's not so big that it's faceless, and it's not so small that it's too small. It's that really nice balance in between. So after, it was 3 years, I think, in the call centre, I got really into the sort of technical side of it. So, we'd have plumbers ringing up saying, why is this air locking? How do I do this?
Yep.
And we would have to walk a plumber through how to get over an airlock or how to correctly run a length of pipe here, there, everywhere else. A job came up for a service engineer it was South London, it was. And, I was successful with the interview, which was brilliant. Aqualisa sent me to college for 2 years, so I did the full qualification.
So plumber. Qualified plumber?
Technically, I'm a qualified plumber,
Yeah, cool.
although what makes a good plumber is experience, I must admit. So
Yeah, obviously.
I wouldn't want to say I'd plumb your house in for you.
No,
Technically,
fine.
I suppose I could. But yeah, did it for, so college was 2 years. I was a service engineer for 5 years, and it got to that point, after the 5 years, I kind of wanted a bit more. So I spoke to my director at the time, and, by this point, I'd got a really good product knowledge. So I was quite lucky, being from, in the office to then going out on the road, I had this really vast level of niche information that not everyone knows about. So it's, I know what screw sizes went with the shower in 1982 or something, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, my sort of skill sets complement themselves really well. So then I came back into the office to work as a product executive. So that was just managing the range again. It was, looking after the spare parts, working out what we should obsolete, what we should keep. An opportunity then came up to become a senior service engineer, so that I went back out on the road again. I managed 7 of the guys that I worked with previously anyway, so that was really good fun. And then another opportunity came up back in the marketing department now as a product manager, which again, so I've just kind of stuck to that track. But I'm really enjoying it at the moment. And again, I'm working in the office, you're just a bit closer to everything, and you're a bit more connected, a bit more involved. Obviously being out on the road's brilliant, but you are slightly disconnected, so I really quite enjoyed the whole teamwork aspect of it, and again the people really. So
Yeah, no, that's really good. So from a point of view, I'll just go back to where you mentioned you left school. You didn't know what you wanted to do.
No clue.
Dreams, no desires.
do you know what it was? I wanted to do something computers. That's all I knew, because that's when they were getting big and flat screens came out and all that. I sound old there, but yeah, I was doing it at A level, and one of the modules was data protection, and it bored me to tears, and I dropped the course off. It was awful, so I took media instead. I did English at A level as well, and photography. Again, to be honest, I think I was just filling some time really. But I thought, okay, well, I like people, so customer service makes sense, which is why Aqualisa was a good shout. And like I said, the fact that I only lived locally at the time was very nice as well.
And do you think over the years that the leadership team within the business has played a big part in sort of, you've got to have a motivation. The good thing about, you mentioned you've done this and you moved on, you did this and you've gone back, and you must have enjoyed it. And the leadership within the team, as the leadership from the top down you mentioned, was just not a faceless business. But that's interesting itself, because a lot of people come to work and don't enjoy their work, don't want to do the job. But obviously if you're working with someone you enjoy working with, that make a big difference?
It makes all the difference, and that's the thing. We sort of refer to it as the Aqualisa family, and that's what it is really. You know, if you ever need to talk to your management about anything, they're always there to sort of discuss, even, you know, stuff in your private life if you need to.
Yep.
Guidance wise, if you're willing to put the sort of work in, which I always have been, and I do enjoy the work. It's funny because you tell somebody, oh yeah, I work for a shower firm, and they must think, oh, that sounds dull. But when you're in there at that level, sort of grinding through it all, and if you do find it interesting and it does all make sense, yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's to say that I love working for a shower company sounds silly, but it's true. You know, it's a good place to work. A few of my friends work here. I've recruited a few of my mates to come in as well. So I've got one up in customer services, another as a service engineer as well, which is brilliant.
So you're very passionate about the business as well.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I mean, for me personally, I've my whole working life has been here. So it's everything. So everything I've worked towards is all going into the company, which is why I do. You know, I do still enjoy it so much, because I do feel like I'm sort of quite a part of it. If that makes sense.
Part of the family.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so part of the furniture, really.
Part of the furniture, yeah, that's it. But going back to your the days on the service engineer, just quickly, you know, dealing with customers face to face is different to dealing with customers over the phone. Big difference. So taking yourself into someone's house, you know, and then going there and fixing their shower, and essentially maybe where a plumber's gone in there and hasn't done their job right, potentially. Going and then you're sort of telling the customer something with their friend plumber. That must be quite a tactical position a few times.
I've had it. I remember I learned quickly. It was when I hadn't been doing it for long. I said, "Oh, who installed this?" I did. I was like, "Oh, okay." So,
you learn.
You
quickly to keep your mouth shut. But it's a difficult one, because if it is like the plumber or a family member or a friend of the family who's been a plumber for 10 years and they've gone and installed a shower, and essentially, you know, they haven't followed the instructions because they're not particularly difficult thing to install. You know, there's a few little issues that can be from time to time, but you say about airlocks and stuff like that. But most plumbers should be able to fix. That, obviously, when Smart came out, there was a little bit of the digital side, could be a bit scary, but really Aqualisa has simplified it and made it very, very easy to install.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of plumbers who love the Aqualisa product will say how quick it can be installed.
Yeah, that's why I recommend it, and if ever I do fit them for, you know, friends and family, I always go Smart. Because it's easy to install, because it's easy to maintain, and obviously it works really well. It's easy to use. The benefits are massive.
So how did you overcome these conversations with the customers face to face?
It's not so bad. It's funny, when I used to work in the office, you get somebody ring up and they're shouting and screaming, and I remember before, I'd have a phone call from the office, Dan, can you go out and do this job as an emergency? She's kicking off, she's going crazy. You get there, you knock on the door, like, oh, hello love, do you want a cup of tea? And they're so friendly in person. And when you're there, it's a lot easier when you're face to face with somebody, because to explain something over the phone, you're just a bloke on the end of the phone who doesn't know what he's talking about probably, and just spouting nonsense. But when you're there, you can sort of demonstrate. You can say, okay, well, this doesn't go here, this goes there. It's a very easy mistake to make. It's not the end of the world. Anyone could have done it. I work on this day in, day out, which is why I know. But your plumbers fit in toilets and sinks and kitchens and bathrooms. The fact of the matter is, you never really get major errors. It's only the odd thing that's the other thing that can be tweaked and adjusted to improve the performance. So I enjoyed the whole face-to-face thing. I never had any real conflicts at all. It's rare that people make mistakes, but if they do, you explain it. Okay, fair enough, and then the plumber comes out, puts it right, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, it's good. Because Aqualisa are passionate about the customer's experience. That's the thing I've always found, is that not only from the innovation of the product, the design of the product, the longevity of the product, but also once the product's installed, the customer being happy with the product. And that's obviously why the customer care, because I don't know many other manufacturers have such a good customer care team.
That's good to hear. And do you know what? That's one of the reasons that the service engineer job is so easy, because you turn up and the first thing they say before you start, love the product, and it's done the hard work for you. It's been in for 20 years. Great, works really well. So that straight away you're on good terms. Obviously, as the service engineer, they're always happy to see you as well, because you're going to fix the shower for them. So
of course,
it's always nice. But it's the customer satisfaction is always a really big part of it. And to walk away, you're doing about 8 jobs a day or so, and to walk away leaving all those people really happy, it's a good feeling. And you could see, you've got them out of trouble, and a lot of instances you might have, a little old lady who's got just this one shower and nothing else, and it's people don't realise that your shower is actually a massive part of your day.
It's part of your well-being. We were mentioning it before in one of the previous chats. And it was literally, it is part of your well-being. If you get up in the morning, you can't have a shower, and it's part of your daily routine. Psychologically,
it throws you all out.
It does throw your day out.
No,
It throws your day out.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
feel like you started the day properly. It's a bit like people going to get their coffee. We mentioned it as well. You ain't got your coffee. It's the same sort of scenario. It
Yeah,
doesn't
totally.
kick you. You've ruined the kickstart to your day, and that's really good. And then, so being part of product management, you find that you're looking at product ranges and trying to sort of decide whether it's the right bits in the range.
Yeah,
so
it's moving forward, we can identify where there are gaps. And again, what's quite good is I've sort of carried my knowledge as an engineer and brought it into here now. So it's almost like I've got a voice within the business as well. So now I'm involved in making some decisions. I think I'm doing all right, to be fair.
Good.
So to move things forward, I think it's good to have a representative who knows the products from a sort of service point of view, because I know what plumbers want in theory, and I know what features that they look for. So again, with the smart stuff, the exposed with the rail that goes through the ceiling, it's just stuff like that makes life easy. The biggest one, actually, I think that all the engineers really loved was do you remember the old grey box, the original processor?
Yep.
So
before it went black.
Exactly that.
Yep.
So that one had 11 screws on it to get the lid off.
Yes.
Whereas the new one has 1 screw. So it's simple things, but
saves time.
Yeah. So it's where now I can bring that kind of insight into the marketing department. I think it's as a team we're very well rounded. We can
real
kind of
world experience, day to day stuff.
That's it. We can kind of hit it from every angle really, which is good.
Yeah, really good. Perfect. So Dan, supply chain.
Yes, so I'm a supply chain manager for Aqualisa. I've been here for just coming up to 4 years. Started as a supply chain analyst. I was promoted this year.
Yep.
So I'm responsible for about 70 suppliers.
Wow.
We've got in total around between 3,500 components. So my role is all around supporting the demand plan, managing the suppliers, making sure they're doing what they're meant to be doing. I'm the escalation point for all of the supply chain analysts for any availability issues. I also do a lot of work on cost down, i.e. the packaging project.
I was going to ask you about that. The motivation for that, and was it obviously the environmental side we discussed earlier today was important, but there's obviously the cost.
So we're seeing not just the material cost benefit, but equally as important, we're seeing the carbon footprint of the company has improved. Just to give you an indication, we've probably saved between 200 and 250 pallets this year, i.e. where we were shipping out on pallets of, if I give you an example of one of our products was 60 to a pallet, it's now 100 to a pallet in some volume. So it's been a really, really interesting project. We worked with an external consultant who we brought in. So I've worked with design. Again, I'm working cross-functionally with just to make sure that the product is, it does what it meant to be doing, passing drop tests. It's been a really, really interesting project to work on. One of my first big projects, actually.
We've noticed that as well in the warehouse from a point of view of what you can get on. So since Q came out,
that was one of my projects as well.
So that was since that came out, we've now seen the electrics.
Quartz electric,
massive change in the box. The box size has dramatically changed.
Yes.
The Midas range.
Midas range, that all changed.
Dropped as well.
Gone from a box sort of like that to about that thin.
Huge difference. And when they first arrived, we didn't actually know that one had been changed.
Oh, okay.
When it first arrived into the building, we were looking and said, how can it go from that to that?
Yeah.
It was like an old quartz box
it's
into
very
the
impressive.
new box. That's an impressive change. Of just
that,
not only trying to stack all the components in there, obviously without getting them damaged, but reducing all that packaging. That's
exactly. No, it's been a really, really interesting project that we're really seeing the results of. I like things that are quite tangible, so you can really see the impact of sort of the hard work that you put in. So the project started in, I think we've been seeing benefits on that since about March this year. So we're going to roll out into some other projects next year as well. So some other groupings, i.e. some of these other showers you can see next year.
So is the quartz, the new quartz in the new style packaging that going the same way?
The new quartz is in new packaging, so that changed as well this year. The box drastically reduced in size. I can't tell you what the pallet quantities are on that one, but it was one of the ones that we changed. We've changed the rise as well, the visage, that's just changed. yeah, so it's all sort of coming together, which is great.
Yeah, and there's not only a reduction in the obviously physical size to putting more product on the pallet. There's obviously the amount of waste cardboard, and the cardboard's a different material. It seems like a different material.
Yeah, yes, they have changed the material in some cases, but it wasn't all about cost. That we make sure that what we're changing is still fit for purpose. So everything has to go through a drop test.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we're really seeing the benefits there.
Huge benefits.
Yeah.
And going back to supply chain, what's next year potentially going to bring us with Brexit? What are you thinking from a Brexit point of view of getting stuff in and out of the country?
I think nobody really sort of knows at the moment.
Finger in there like that, aren't they?
Yeah, no, we've had sort of several meetings as to action plans, but I don't think anyone sort of really knows at this stage. No, I don't think we'll be too heavily impacted.
Good.
Not from conversations that we had last week. We had a meeting last week. I can't see us being severely impacted at the moment, but
Cool.
it's all sort of up in the air at the
Yeah,
moment.
of course. But you obviously plan for the amount of product coming in phases and stages throughout the year.
Yeah.
So it's obviously just getting it into the country is probably maybe an issue for a few days, maybe one day, who knows. But from a point of view of getting it in, obviously, do you look at other trends in the industry? Do you look at sort of seasonal stuff with other countries? Do you have other shutdowns in other countries? Because there's a lot to
so we
factor in
do
with all the
have.
suppliers.
Obviously, we've got the shutdown coming up in China, which we planned for already.
Yeah.
We've already secured the material for that. I can't remember what date it is this year, but it's around February. But obviously, we've placed our orders to cover that shutdown sort of way in advance, so we don't get caught out. We get the Italian shutdown as well, which is about a month, which is all the big valves that come in.
Yep.
So we'll be planning for that. I think that's in June, I believe, May, June. So we'll be planning for that probably February time.
Yep.
But no, we work closely with the demand planning manager, just to make sure that we're getting ahead to make sure we secure material early.
Yep.
So
Can it be difficult sometimes with the actual products, and it suddenly ramps up? Quartz Electric winning the Which Award back.
Yeah.
There's been an acceleration in the sales.
It's been a challenge.
It's challenging, but obviously you guys are always looking for. You've got the niche products, so the niche holidays in every single country to take into consideration. Manufacturing shutdowns plus demand of stuff coming in.
Yeah.
Something could be featured on a home building show next week or TV show next week, and suddenly there's a spike. It's very difficult to try and level out those.
It's difficult, but I think that's why I love supply chain so much, because I think supply chain is one of the most challenging departments.
Yeah.
So, for example, on the Quartz Electric, which you just mentioned, obviously that's one of our main challenges at the moment, because we've had this huge uplift, which is a great problem to have. I always see it as a great problem to have.
Yeah, well, it's a good product, that's why. Yeah.
It is a great product. So, I mean, what we do is what we're looking at now is going forwards, what sort of can we do differently there? So what we've actually spoke about last week was actually upping our safety stock levels on some of the longer lead time items. So should we have these increases again, we've just got that little bit more buffer around us.
Yep.
I'm working very closely with one of the suppliers who brings in the cover and the engine that makes that product. I speak to them practically every day at the moment.
Yep.
So we really are sort of micromanaging that particular category. Without any sort of serious impact on sort of availability at the moment. So so I think the thing is on this is that we put actions in place going forward just to make sure that on these products where we do see these big spikes, we can be covered in the future, i.e. on the longer lead time items.
Yes, cool. And so just go back to something from when you left school, did you always want to be in demand planning? What was your thing? Because obviously people leaving school today, it's quite a passion of ours, is that people leave school today, they sort of feel like they need to jump into running a company, or they jump into trying and having some kind of direction.
I when I left school, I went off to university and I actually did a degree in marketing.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing to do with supply chain whatsoever. I decided I wanted to see some of the world. I came back and I ended up going on to I started working in store actually for the Arcadia group, so I wanted to save up some money to go travelling. Didn't want to sort of start work just yet, and I went on to their graduate scheme in stock control, and it sort of developed from there really.
Yeah, that's where the demand planning's come from the stock control.
Exactly. Yeah, it's but I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, good. So you didn't actually want to be stock control when you left school? Did you have a
Not to start
spaceman,
with, no,
footballer, or
no. Say again.
spaceman or a footballer or anything?
I think it was a brain surgeon at one point.
Brain surgeon, no,
yeah.
cool,
Then I
yeah.
realised I had a sort of fear of blood, which didn't help. But no, yeah, I didn't plan to end up in supply chain, but I absolutely love it. I love the challenge. Every day is different. Aqualisa it's a great company to work for. Every day is different, which is one of the attractions for me, because we've always got something to contend with, but it's always something that we work together collaboratively, sort of across the teams, cross-functionally. I think we've got a great sort of can-do attitude here as well. People really want to make things happen. So where we have this uplifts are great to have. There's not a bad problem to have, but people sort of really muck in, not just within supply chain, but cross-functionally as well, to sort of make products available to customers. So
I've noticed that in your passion, you like a challenge.
I love a challenge.
Yeah, it comes across. You
Yeah.
love a
Yeah,
challenge.
love
Try
a
to
challenge.
overcome a problem.
Yeah.
That's why obviously supply chain seems to
exactly.
be.
But I think with challenge, I think it's all about making sure that when you do have these challenges, that you then put in place sort of actions to sort of on the quartz that we're talking about, that we're now looking at up in our buffer stocks, just to allow for sort of these uplifts again. But challenges make the day interesting.
They do make it go quicker. Yeah.
Exactly,
Cool.
exactly.
Perfect. What else in supply chain? Because it's not my forte, you see. I'm not like a supply chain
No, so
specialist.
I worked on the before the packaging project. Probably my biggest project before that was Q, the introduction of Q.
Okay.
I wasn't a supply chain manager at that point. I was a procurement analyst at that point. But we brought in about 130 to 140 new parts for that product.
Wow.
Which was, again, it was a great challenge. But I think from my side, and I think representing the supply chain team on that particular project, we managed to offer 100% availability at launch, which was fantastic, really, given the volume of products that we're bringing in, the sort of complexity of products we were bringing in as well. So at launch, we offered 100% availability, which I think is probably one of my biggest success stories since I've been here.
Yeah. That's something I've noticed actually in what you just said, is there's so many components to be assembled here.
Yep.
To make up one product.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been selling Aqualisa. So I've been selling Aqualisa for literally 20 years, and I didn't even comprehend there were so many components to.
Yeah, I mean,
each
I
product.
came from previously another manufacturing environment, but what I purchased in previously was a finished product. It was a tableware, so things like the coffee cup. It was that sort of thing. So it was finished product, just in, out. So you were talking about bomb levels of one, whereas here our bombs could be anything up to 300 different parts on a bomb. So, but again, it makes it interesting. It makes it challenging. It's.
But it can also make it challenging that you can lose potentially not only one product in a range, but the whole range if one product component's missing.
Yeah.
You know, that's the challenge. Whereas obviously with that, if you was to lose one item, it may stop the ceiling fed. But if it's a critical component to the actual processor in the digital, then you can't produce any processes, which means it's the whole range has disappeared.
Yeah.
That must be a challenge in itself.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but I think we've got. I work very closely with the demand planner, and our demand plan is pretty good now. We also. I think our OTIF at the moment is about 94%, something like that, which is pretty good.
Pretty
high. It's. I think our availability is pretty good. Actually. Yeah,
that's perfect, superb. And what's for the future next year? What have you got coming in next year? Any new products you have to work on that you?
I believe they're doing.
products?
I'm not involved in the project, but I know they're doing a big mixer. A lot of work on bringing in some new mixers. I think about 100 new SKUs, something like that.
Wow.
It's not actually my project, so I couldn't sort of tell you in the detail.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, for me, it's. I'm still focusing on the packaging because we haven't really hit all of the groupings yet. I think we've probably hit. I'd say probably 30% of our products, maybe 40%.
Premier collection getting a revamp on the boxing as well.
Potentially.
Yeah, in the future.
Potentially. So I think that's going to be one of my main focuses because we've still got, I think Q as well. Q's another box that we might be looking at.
Okay.
Because I think you've seen that box. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
I think our packaging consultant might say it doesn't need to be that big, to be honest.
Reduce it.
Try and reduce it. Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
So.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Okay.
you very much. Cheers.
So,
mate.
great.
When you were at school and you left school, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a motor mechanic.
Did you?
Or a car designer.
Cool.
Car designer first.
Yeah.
I actually then went to a technical college to study design And the course I was doing, I very quickly realised I was going to be a foreman in a mine.
Really?
So I changed that.
It wasn't for you then?
It wasn't for me. And then tried to do the whole apprentice car mechanic. Didn't quite work out, so I actually ended up in a similar industry for the Automobile Association.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, in their emergency call centre, worked there for a few years.
What, customer service side?
Customer service, emergency call centre. So not really customer service, people breaking down. In South Africa, it's quite quite a key thing if you're on the side of the road and vulnerable.
Yeah, don't be there too long.
You don't want to be there too long. So
No.
so moved on from there.
Cool.
Did a bit of a change into the mining sector.
Okay.
And that was very interesting. Did that for a couple of years, just as operations manager,
Yep.
you know, logistics and that kind of thing. And then came over to England, fresh off the boat, had a look around, and Aqualisa was the first job I took. I just
Really?
took it, get
Wow.
settled in, and I was actually in their call center, customer service, the technical call center.
Yep.
And I've been here ever since. You know, it's
Wow.
a great company. We sell great products. The people here are really nice.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot today. The people thing is really interesting.
That's one thing you'll notice where we're different. I'm sure you meet a lot of people in our organization. You know, we all work very well together. We care about each other. We care about our product. So yeah, that's the difference. People are the difference always. You know, you can innovate, you can launch new products. You know, we do loads of different, you know, smart digital, mixer, electric showers, but the people, you know, we have that passion for showers.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
the
it's
leadership-
our Aqualisa. We
Yeah.
look at it as our Aqualisa.
So
So
it's one sort of family. One
Exactly.
big family. Aqualisa family.
we are.
Yep. And from a point of view, you obviously when you got here, you've worked and enjoyed working for the company, but the leadership sort of thing of the people above, that obviously must be instilled from the top. Comes down.
Over the years, we've had a few changes up at the top, which I'm sure is part of the course in big business and business as a whole. We went through the recession. You know, there were some tough times, but we've come through that, and you know, the message is very clear from the top all the way down all the way up. You know, we are together. We work as a team, and it's very consistent. You know, you could speak to anyone, even randomly, and they'll probably give you a very similar sort of story.
Yeah, well, certainly seems to be the way today. So now today, looking after the products management.
Yeah. I you know, like I said, I started in customer service and basically cut my teeth with the product.
Yeah.
Where I came from, I never even heard of a thermostatic shower before. It's a cold tap and a hot tap.
Really, as bad as that.
You turn it and that was it. So I was like, oh,
Thermostatic shower, yeah. We should go take it to South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. So really interesting. Learned a lot about the product. You know, when you're at the coalface, speaking to customers about issues or problems or great experiences, you learn very quickly. And then decided, look for something, wanted a bit of a change, went into the marketing team, and I started as an assistant product manager. That was probably about 5 years after I started. Learned a lot. It's fantastic. Then became a product manager, but then specifically looked after our spares part of the business, which are, you know, we've been around since late 70s. We still do a great range of spares for our products, and it's quite a big range of spares. So cleaned that up, you know, made it really good. Also, as part of that, took over the technical training for our call center, just because of that background that I had there.
I was going to say, because you said about being a car designer, you did car mechanic. It's almost like you've taken that and you've fallen into, instead of cars, you've fallen into showers. Yeah,
and,
but
and
it's
I
a
love
similar
it.
sort of path.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't have expected that when you was young. You know, you wouldn't have said, "Oh, I'm going to do showers," because cars was an obvious choice. Maybe
this is almost the job I was created for.
Yeah,
if you want to put it that way, and it's
definitely,
fallen into my lap through however many reasons.
Luck.
But yeah, probably. You
Probably
know,
luck.
You know, when you have to make a decision, even like moving countries, for example,
big
you know,
decision.
you have to be a bit open-minded, and that's the thing. So, done that. Then went back into the marketing team, so gave up the product training. They do it more in-house upstairs. I'm sure you would have spoken to some of the people from the call center.
Yep.
That's where I've been for the last few years. You know, launching products. You know, we've got so many exciting things coming up. We did Aqualisa Q, smart digital. You know, it is the best shower in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Revolutionised probably like the new innovative product. Mark II, if it makes sense.
Of course.
But then reinvented it again, making it simple, but can be a little bit more complex from the menu point of view, but without going too complicated. So someone who's in their, I'm going to say 50s or 60s, can still use it. It's not, you have to be technically minded, because a lot of people get a smartphone, they'll be like, I don't know how to use it, a bit scared of it. So there's that risk with the Q of going too far, and I think they've got a good balance.
I think the beauty with Q is it could be as complicated as you want it to be.
Yeah.
You could just on off, use the remote, one touch, and you adjust the dial. It's at the temperature you want, push the lever for flow, and that's it. You'll love it for years and years and years. Or you could set up your profiles. If your wife likes 38 degrees for 7 minutes at flow 5, and you like 37 at 42 for 10 minutes, you can do those presets. How many showers out there you can step away and it knows to reduce the flow while you're washing your hair, or you're shaving your legs, or those are the kind of things that really count. You stand in front of it, it says hello to you. Like, wow.
Well, and that is truly smart, though, isn't it? Because we talk about smart in the home. What is smart? Is it the fact that it's got an LCD LED display, or is it the fact it's truly smart, like you say, it's sensing you moving away, so it knows you've moved away, so it knows you don't need to put so much water down.
Exactly.
That's a truly smart.
They look
design.
great as well. It's something different. When I started here, we had quartz. We launched quartz 2001. I started in 2007, so it was well established. And when it was launched, blew everyone's minds.
It did,
Loads of people went over. Quartz is it's a showstopper. It's a real good one. And coming from somewhere where it was a hot tap and a cold tap, and it's like being on a different planet. Coming from even South Africa, which is pretty first world, to be fair. So Q is just really the next step up, and in the future, we'll take it to another level. There's a lot of plans for the next truly smart aspect of it, essentially. So there's a really interesting and exciting road ahead of us.
That's really good. Well, I remember selling when the Quartz first came out in 2001. I think 2001 we set up our first website, and in 2002 I think it was around that sort of time we launched Quartz online, and that was because it was such a big thing across the country and not everybody stocked it, and we kept it in stock, so we was able to ship it back then on TNT, which would take 3 days, which was the normal service level. Now everyone wants it today, next day, but that was a groundbreaker for us as a business as well.
I feel, and these are our findings, people who've never fitted them and then fit them and realize, wow, you win them over very quickly, and they stick with it. You never find someone just fit one and never use it again. They really do see the benefit, and I think with the exposed ones that we launched and the ease of fitting, you took a day's job into a couple of hours job. And you're winning, the customer's winning, and they're great products. So
talking to installers, when I have spoken to many installers, they say exactly that. Installing the Quartz is just so simple, from a time factor, from an ease factor, and it literally kind of self sets itself up to a certain degree. So simple and easy to use. And for a replacement in the UK bathrooms, replacement work, when you have a bath where you just want to stick a shower across the over the top of a bath, which is very, very popular. The exposed version, you've literally got no real work in the bathroom to do, which is its beauty.
Got to drill a hole, run a cable, make sure it looks good.
Perfect.
How easy could it be, really? Everything's in the box. You've got a nice 10-meter range. You've got loads of places to put it. Loft, airing cupboard, under the bath. So you're always going to have options. And if you run into any issues, our backup customer service is second to none. And that's one of the things that we're really proud of. Is anyone could call our office and we'll work them through anything. We're renowned for that. We always have been.
And service engineers out on the field to service that backup if it can't be done in the office or in the customer service
Sometimes
team.
things fall down. Sometimes you have problems.
And
we don't have many. Our track record is really good. Our products were really well tested. But if there are any issues, our service engineers are fantastic. We have a big fleet of our own Aqualisa service engineers that we use. So.
Perfect. And then from a point of view of spares, you say you've rationalised the spares, because they're spares dating back to what?
Late 70s.
The late 70s, some of the old original 600 valves.
The 200, can you remember that far back?
No, not 200 valve. But I think I've supplied a few spares for the 200 valve, but I don't think I ever saw it. A 600 valve, I think it was the first one that I really sort of remember.
Okay.
But the 200, was that black? Was that black and white?
Black and white
Black and
bodied,
white,
yeah.
yeah, that's
we
it,
went
yeah.
200, 600, 605.
605, yeah.
609.
609, yeah. that
Which
was
became
big
the
stable
Colt,
one.
you know,
Yep.
lovely. So yeah, that's the sort of journey. Dream is
Yep,
the one.
today.
Nice metal controls, levers, looks fantastic. So
The Axis valve.
Axis.
They cut those for a little while. Axis valve. Was
They
that
were
there?
out, fantastic.
Yeah,
Metal.
metal,
It was the
metal.
only one with metal
Yeah,
at the
I remember
time.
that.
Now we have Dream.
Yep.
So Axis we phased out. It was a bit of a Marmite one, I think.
Yeah,
Axis with
love
the
it or-
black on it. Love
Yep.
it or hate it.
Yep, and the little
Um,
very pencil sort of style
yeah.
levers to it. Yeah,
I
remember that.
loved it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I think a lot of people
I
did.
think it was a great one, very distinct looking.
Yep.
And I think that was its charm, really.
Yep.
Bimetallic coil, you know, very high flowing for low pressure gravity fed systems. You know,
Yep.
there's a lot of houses in the UK that use that system. So it's an obvious choice for getting the performance. If you don't have a pump or you don't have high pressure system, you know, those kind of showers are fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I still remember some of the demos back in when I started with the company in 19 years ago, and talking about how the actual the thermocoil can prevent the scale, which is the biggest thing in the UK with the hard water, especially where we are in this area as well.
I live down
hard-
the road.
yeah,
and I have
hard
that
waters.
exact same problem.
and it just seems to go on for forever.
They do.
So-
They last. You know, whether it's the bimetallic coil or even our smart digital processor box. The box has a self-cleaning function.
Yeah.
If you leave it, it'll cycle through, move the valves to stop the build-up. So it's something we're always thinking about, because I wouldn't say the quality of the water, but you know, lime scale, the hardness of the water
Yeah.
varies greatly depending on where you are. So yeah, that's something we're always thinking about, and how can we make it better.
That's really good. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I'll give you a fun fact. So when we were doing
fun fact? Cool.
Relating only to me
That's good.
and our Q shower.
Yeah, cool.
So leading up to the launch, we had a whole lot of field trials.
Yep.
Field trials, you know, running it.
Were you
in the
lucky enough to have
household.
one?
I had one, yes.
Wow, yeah, cool.
So we had it in the house, so we're doing multiple showers. So one day I worked from home and had 23 showers in one day.
Really?
And they weren't just hop in, hop out. It was, you have to use soap, shampoo, and recreate the exact showering experience. The next day, it felt like I had sunburn.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of 23 of them.
23 showers, yeah. So just
That's
as
why you
a-
look so young.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
really good.
yeah, so something to leave you with.
Yeah, definitely. That's really good. How come you how come you come from South Africa to England? What was the motivation?
So my family, or half my family, are South African and half my family are British.
Yep.
So my mom was born in Scotland. My grandparents, they moved to South Africa, lived there for a few years, moved to Botswana. My grandfather worked for De Beers.
Okay.
So they were in De Beers diamond mine. They never ever sold the house. They were always coming back. And over a period of time, made the call. My son was at that age. He was 4 when I came over, school going.
Yep.
And it was really a sort of a crossroad, thinking, do we stay around? It's lovely, or let's try something different, see a bit of Europe, and it worked out. So
That's good. And you're still here.
still here.
Still
I love
enjoying
it. Yeah, no, I love it. It's
No
fantastic.
sunshine
yeah.
though.
You know, I'll tell you the key thing that people probably don't realize is people say, it rains a lot, no sunshine. But actually, if you think about how long your day is in summer, it only gets dark at 10 o'clock. In South Africa, it's hot all the time, but it's dark by 7. Unless
is,
you're in
yeah.
Cape Town. You were saying
Yeah.
Cape Town's a bit later.
Yep.
So
Still
people
dark
don't
early,
realize
though.
that.
Still gets dark early.
It is. You
Yeah.
know, by February time here, you're starting to think, I wish it was summer. You know, it needs to change a bit. But then spring comes and everyone's mood changes. You know, everyone just lifts up in spring, and
Yep.
it's almost like everyone just pulls together, and then the summer arrives. It's lovely, you know. I think it's not only things like weather. It's people. People make a place.
Of
like here
course.
at Aqualisa, you know.
It's very much people.
It is.
Environment. Unfortunately, that's the thing with the online side. I keep talking about the apps and the digital side with social media and that. Everyone still thrives that people. And as much as that, sometimes it's nice to say, yeah, okay, I've seen what someone's done on Facebook, but talking to someone, meeting someone like for the
Yeah.
first time and chatting to someone is still completely different. And we thrive that as human beings.
Of course, you need
So-
some contact with people,
Yeah,
whether
definitely.
you're talking to them face to face on the phone. And if you cover all the bases, you can't really go wrong, can
No,
you?
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's really good. Thank
Fantastic.
you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
So, Adam, Aqualisa, for you, passionate about showering, passionate about the industry, innovation. What sort of things have you found in the last, I can't remember how long you've been now. Started
About 4.5 years.
4.5 years. What's sort of the big innovation and move for Aqualisa? What were you sort of pushing?
I think the business has got a good reputation for innovation, Darren, as you'll know, over the last 40 years. And we've probably become more famous for kind of digital showers or smart showers in the more modern vernacular. And that's certainly been a focus of our new product development over the last few years, to try and bring products to the market that are going to be able to do, you know, cleverer things for customers.
I mean, it's definitely got innovation on the cards. You know, definitely sound mechanics from a point of view that it lasts for a long time. Aqualisa showers, to myself personally, as well as when I speak to installers, they say, do you know what, they kind of go on forever. The quality is definitely British. It's there, and it's on point. I think is probably the best way of putting it. So for me, you know, with the Q shower is the latest innovation of bringing, I would say, you know, innovation.
100%, yeah.
But simplicity as well, I think, because it's not particularly difficult to use. I think that's something.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think it takes the principles that we've been successful with quartz and brought that into a more modern generation. And I think to some of your other comments, I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that Britishness actually still counts a lot. I mean, particularly as we sit here today with everything going on about Brexit
looming.
You know, I think it still matters to a lot of people that this is a business that's based in Kent. It's been based here all of its life, 40 odd years. You know, we still make showers, as you know. You've been around, you've seen the factory today, I'm sure. We still make showers and assemble showers here for the British market, and that I think is more relevant than ever. And I think it gives a certain point of difference that we've got perhaps to some of the other showers you can buy, where you really are buying British, and something that, you know, in Westerham, it's a fairly small town in Kent. You know,
tiny,
we're a significant employer around here,
Yeah,
and so
definitely.
I think it's nice to feel proud of a business that's got that heritage and history and makes great products. And the old saying about good marketing is, you know, selling products that don't come back to people who do.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's very much what we try and do. The customer service aspect of things here is also important. I'm sure we'll be chatting to some others today, perhaps a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I have. I mean, one thing that came apparent today, and I've been here now, this is my third or fourth visit to Aqualisa over the years, and one thing I found today, and really sort of undercovering the people, because I haven't ever done that before. I've come and seen a presentation, I've been around the plant, seen the assembly, seen the manufacturing.
Bullshit to you when you're coming around and walking around. You'll find it warts and all that people will tell you how they see it. I'm sure they will.
Well, I have.
Hope they would.
They would. And today was really interesting was the fact that people have been very passionate about. You know, they've termed it the Aqualisa family, and
nice,
several
yeah.
people today, you know, been here for 40 years, packing boxes, assembly, and then you know, someone else has been here 7 years, 10 years. There's a lot of people who've been here a long time, so very passionate. The people here are very passionate about themselves as part of a team.
I think so, and you know, one of the catchphrases we've used about the business over the years has been obsessed with showers, and I think you've obviously picked up on some of that obsession, for want of a better word, as you've gone round, because I think people do. We only do make showers. We don't make, you know, taps and other bathroom accessories. You know, we're a shower business, and therefore, I think you're right. People do have that real passion. Anyone who's got any good ideas, that's going to be channeled in towards that shower, not anything else. We've not got a broader repertoire of products. So yeah, I'm glad you picked that up.
And do you find that being in negative, do you find being part of that just niche of just showers can be a negative, or is it? You know, we've obviously, you think of other brands have got a whole portfolio of product. Do you think it's a negative, or is that definitely a positive?
I mean, I guess it's a question. There's always two sides to a coin, isn't there? I mean, I think we would argue that because we are specialists in showers, that gives us some advantages, because we've got a great track record for innovation. Sometimes it might be, if you're looking to pitch for a specification in a house builder's, it may be perceived as an advantage to have a matching taps and some of the matching accessories, but you've got to take the rough with the smooth overall, Darren. And I think broadly we're happy with the way the business is developed. We're in a strong position in the marketplace and financially, so you know, I think we're well placed for the future.
Yeah. I think definitely the installers seem to have fallen in love with the product over the years, especially the digital side, you know, from a time saving perspective of installation ease, you know, and the customer service that you guys give on the back of it.
Sure. Well, I know you guys have got a lot of trade customers as well as homeowners, and I think you're right that we've been having developed an innovative product that saves time to install. Inevitably, you've got installers who've got a level of loyalty towards Aqualisa, which is inordinately helpful, given that Some of those installers will be fitting 30 and 40 showers a year, so it's tremendous to try and attract them to use the product and then hopefully maintain their loyalty.
Yeah, it gets them on board. Is there like a silent salesman for you in the background, aren't they? Keep
Very
selling
much
the
so.
product.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's still, if you look at how people decide on what to do with their bathroom, if they're refurbing it, that installer role still remains very important, even with the opportunities to buy online, such as there are through Trading Depot these days. People will still use, that plumber, that installer as a sounding board.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's an interesting point. You brings you onto the showrooms quite well, really. With the regards to showrooms, Aqualisa supporting the showrooms with your new ranges. It definitely something that's I've seen as a huge advantage to you guys, having that differential between your trade counter offering, your different channels, your different markets. How's that working for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we've had, as you say, a more bespoke range of products for premier showroom outlets for probably 10 years or so. And there is, I think, you're probably far more expert on some of this stuff than I am, but there are different types of consumers who go showrooming a product than there are those who go to shop online. And I think there's a great relevance to both of those channels in today's marketplace. There'll always be some people who want to go in and browse and look and touch and be advised and listen and compare different models they can see face to face, and others who are now happier to buy online. Obviously, with a product like a shower, it's not the cheapest purchase you'll ever make, and it's going to be something that hopefully you'll have for 10 years or more. So you accept there's a role for each, I think.
Yeah, it's not like you can go in and try a shower on very easily in the showroom, is it? So if you would like say, I want to try the Aqualisa quartz, or take it into in the showroom, get undressed, and away you go, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, Darren. I'll let you volunteer for that one rather
exactly.
than me.
But from that point of view, though, it's difficult because obviously if you wanted to go and try a phone or try a product, you can then sort of try it, test it, and then take it back. It's not that easy with a shower in a showroom. Even though you can touch and feel it, you can't really try it on as such. That's the thing.
No, that's true. And I mean, obviously, there are always, if customers aren't happy with the product, we'll always look to try and replace it and put things right, depending on what the issues are. But no, I think you only have to look at the fact the repurchase cycle for a shower is tends to be like 12 years when people take a look at their bathrooms, which says they stick with what they've purchased, and so it is a considered purchase. Different if you're looking to go maybe put a 50 quid electric shower quickly in a spare bathroom. That might be a different consideration, and there's a market out there for that in certain types of retailers.
That's true. Well, just going back to yourself in your younger days, because I'm very interested in how people fall into their positions and their jobs and their roles. Because today,
how I became a shower salesman by Adam Rhodes.
Yeah. We should write a book on that, shouldn't you? But
maybe that'll be something I do in my retirement.
Yeah, exactly. Sat on a beach somewhere.
From selling nappies to selling showers. 30 years.
Well, and that's what I'm trying to get at, is that people, young people leaving college, school, university, whichever it may be, they have this pressure or this sort of seen pressure on themselves to sort of be successful and do really well. In today, in the modern world, with the Instagram and Snapchat world, everything's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So they start a job, they're doing really well, they maybe haven't got a boss who's particularly, not got sort of leadership skills, maybe they come along, they start doing a job, and straight away 3 months in, they're like, do you know what, this isn't what I expected it to be when I left school, because everyone told me I can do this. And so I'm interested in going back from obviously your school days, and then just, did you want to be a spaceman, or did you a racing driver, or did you always want to be a shower salesman?
Well, actually, the first 30 years I was in outer space.
You were? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Only in my dreams. And no, I think I wanted to be I think I would have definitely wanted to be a professional footballer. But unfortunately, wasn't anywhere near good enough to be able to achieve that. And a number of other sort of sporting dreams got broken in the realities of my abilities. But no, I enjoy still playing a lot of sport, but certainly never considered a serious career in that. But no, I've worked in sales from an early age, and I think it's what appeals about that kind of career. It's great to interact with people. It's great to be able to meet through the nature of the job. You do meet a great variety of people, and that's something I've enjoyed enormously. Which is why I guess it's nice to have you guys here today. And to the point you make about leadership, I think over the course of a career you go through, inevitably you have a variety of different bosses, and I think you try and learn as much as you can from all of them.
There'll be positives, how not to be like, or how to be like.
You inevitably you have a mix, don't you? I don't know if there's an average number of bosses you've had over a career. But you're right. I think perhaps today, I've got 27-year-old triplet girls, and they're all into their careers, and they've probably already had 4 or 5 different bosses. And I think there's a different philosophy these days about the level of commitment and loyalty you have to one company. When I started, whatever, 30-something years ago, people tended to stay with a business for maybe 10, 15, 20 years. And I think there's probably a different philosophy today. But yes, to that point about what you can learn, you learn from your bosses. I think you have some inevitably you get on with better than others.
Yep.
But you can learn from all of them.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
you say, sometimes from the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and that's the thing that they seem to want it straight away. And we're just trying to. One thing I was passionate about is that you can join in this industry for whatever reason. It could be someone assembling. We've seen people today doing assembly line stuff. People doing product marketing, but then can evolve their career in that.
Yeah.
One of the guys earlier who wanted to be a car designer is now assisting towards designing showers.
Yeah.
Although different, but kind of the similar sort of.
Yeah, well, it's all about trying to think. I think any good business will try and offer development pathways for people who demonstrate they can handle responsibilities. And certainly in the sales team, we've got a bunch of people, in fact, some of our most successful people who began in the contact centre on the telephones, working in customer service. So there's definitely good career paths. And I think, as you say, the progressive employer will certainly try and provide diversity of opportunities across departments that help people grow, and hopefully then you can keep people staying with the business, as we've been able to here. As you said already, some of the folk have been here for sort of 20, 30, 40 years.
Yes, it's amazing. So good accolade for the business, really. I think it's really sort of something to be proud of, proud to be British, proud to look after their staff for over 40 years.
And it is. I mean, having done my own due diligence before I joined Aqualisa, it's got a very nice feel to the business. Some of the old-fashioned things, to some extent, have remained over the last 4 decades. And this week we're all ordering and expecting to get our Christmas turkeys or our Christmas hams and the basket of fruit for the slightly less indulgent. And so again, those sorts of small things are quite important traditions that have stayed with the business for a long, long time.
Since it started, sort of thing.
Very much so.
Yeah,
and as I'm sure some other people have said to you, the fact that when you've done your tour of the site, it'll say, "Look after my Aqualisa." That's because everybody from the folk on the shop floor upwards have got a little bit of skin in the game. They've got some options to own the business. Should the business achieve certain things, then there's something in that for everybody, and I think that marks us out again as a slightly different business in the market.
Yeah, really good. And just a quick one, just your opinion really on the future of the showroom industry and bathrooms, the bathroom industry. Something that I see there's going to be a shift. This is in my opinion, my humble opinion. There'll be a shift with the bathrooms in as much as that more and more is moving to online. We mentioned obviously my passion is online. It's moving more and more online, and technology is enabling us to bring that experience in the showroom more and more to people's house without them even leaving, or their iPad or wherever they may be sat. Yeah. So going forward,
or phone perhaps,
or phone, definitely, or their phone, exactly. So from that perspective, if you're in a position now where you're able to get a bathroom showroom designed and kind of like sent to your house for you to view in whichever medium may be available, that's going to change some of the market of the showrooms of today, certainly at the lower end, and that's where I think there's going to be a bigger shift in the lower end showrooms. I just want to see what your thoughts are, what you think for the future of showrooms. How have you got any things that you think might happen, changes?
Yes, I mean I think we've seen in a lot of different business segments, the shift of business away from traditional retail to online. That's a very, very well trodden path, isn't it? And I think, as we're seeing in the bathroom industry, there's no exception here. The extent to which that happens, I guess will be dictated by a number of factors. I think one factor is, as we said already, that there's a fairly slow repurchase cycle. It's not like you're buying a shower every week like you are certain products. But I think there are definitely going to be two different types of consumer, different types of shopper. Those who still prefer to go and walk around a showroom, touch and feel the product, listen to advice. Others who are prepared to take the plunge online, and I think you hit the nail on the head. There are opportunities online to start recreating more and more of that showroom experience and demonstration of what the products can do, where people can be sat on their phones or sat in their own homes and appreciating that from where they are. There'll still always be my stomach rumbling there. Once again, I knew I shouldn't have had that egg sandwich. But I think you'll equally find some people who will still want to and will forever want to go in and look around a showroom. So I think there'll be a bit of each. I think there is a strong future for the showroom side of the business for those reasons, and I think if it mirrors some other industries, the strongest ones that do the best jobs will be the ones that can still survive and prosper.
Yep.
But you know, as there is again across a number of other industries, we've already seen a number of those haven't made the transition, have found it more difficult to adapt their businesses to the requirements of the modern day. And you know, it's all about trying to find the right partners to work with, whether that's online, such as working with Trading Depot, or with our customers in the showroom channel.
Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
We're ready, yeah?
So, Colin, your current position is?
CEO of the business.
That's not too scary, is it?
Not too scary.
Not too scary. Today
It's a straightforward job.
It is, I'm sure it is. So today, when we've been going through and talking to all the different members of staff, something that's been very sort of come across really well, and a credit to you and the team from a leadership point of view, is that they've mentioned this one Aqualisa family.
Yeah, we are one family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
where does that come from?
Well, I think it comes from it's first of all, it's historical, so it's cultural, it's historical.
Yep.
You've got a lot of people here who have worked in this business for 10, 15, 20, 30. There's even one person who's worked here for 40 years.
Yep.
In the business. So there's quite a lot of people here who are very passionate about not just showers, but about the business as well.
Yep.
And then alongside that, we've brought there's newcomers in to the business, and we've blended those ideas of other businesses into here, and we managed to maintain that sort of balance. The newcomers learning from the old timers, and the old timers learning from learning a nut trick or two from the newcomers.
Well, and you get that, and it must be quite a difficult balance between the two of trying to take on. You get someone, you're bringing them into the business as a newcomer who's got some strong ideas, whether it be innovation or whether it be to do with product design or the way of running a warehouse. Even you've got someone who's been here for 30 years who's got their ideas of how we've always done it that way, but keep everyone as a happy family still. That must be quite a difficult challenge sometimes.
So it's called communication.
Well, of course, some people struggle with that. Yeah,
and if you get people around a table, so what I like to sort of do myself, but also get other people to do, is it's all about tackling the challenges. They're not problems, they're challenges, and you get around the table together, and from that we learn a few ideas, and then come up with a combined solution, and that's how you get the people to sort of blend together in the business and work as one team.
Yeah, that's good. And what do you find as being, from the leadership standpoint, what do you find is the big key to being a good leader? That's something that a lot of people sort of, there's many I'm sure, but sort of the keys that you find passionate from yourself.
So let people make some decisions, empower people, let them get on and run and do the things. You're paying them to do something, so let them do it.
So you can't micromanage them, basically.
Don't micromanage. That's the worst thing you can do, is don't micromanage. But then the most important thing of all, then you've got to be there to support them. As a manager, you've got to support them and help them through their decisions, and have your door open to listen to them all the time. Yeah,
so you can't just shut your door, leave them to get on with it. When they sink, say, I'll let you to fail. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Yeah,
and we'll all make some mistakes as we go along. And it's not the mistakes we make; it's how we fix them, and how we overcome them at the end of the day. So
that's good. Do you have the sort of the ethos that ultimately it's your decision? So it rests with you at the top. Do you have that sort of philosophy, or is it their fault, or is it?
No, ultimately the buck always lands at the top.
Yep.
But normally, if you have a good style of leadership, sometimes you find people who are willing to share the pain along with you, and they're there to sort of help you along.
Good.
And most of the time, people want to help solve it, move forward rather than see people drown.
Yeah, and I suppose you see that as well with, just take the day-to-day runnings of the business. Take the innovative side, the innovation. With new innovation, that can be challenging, as you mentioned, because everyone's got a new idea what's going to be the next big thing. And fairly recently, you've upgraded for the new generation of smart showering going to Q from quartz. I'm sure there would have been some challenges there with different people's opinions, but moving forward, the race to the next level.
So the race to the next level on what we call smart showers, but they're actually digital showers right now. But to make them smart is for them to work in the connected home. So it will be about connectivity, about being able to operate these showers from your iPhone, to be able to look at your consumptions, maybe even take them one stage further and look at potential water challenges in the house itself, extending that far.
Okay, so from a point of view of well-being. From a well-being point of view, you could look at the water and
You can
get
look
ideas.
Sure, you can look at that. You can control the temperatures. You can control, but make sure there's just the water temperature itself is to. But make some nice showers. Maybe you can get some nice massaging showers. Going forward, these are all things that can come in, and the idea would be you can set that before you walk in, so you walk into a nice warm shower, so that's nice and comfortable.
The ultimate, I suppose, would be that the home hub within your house, whether it be the Google system, Alexa, or Apple system in the future. Who's going to win that race? No one knows yet, but somebody's going to be there. But if they know you've had a bad day because they've been listening to your conversation in the office on your phone, because that's what it's doing, and when he gets home, it's got the shower ready for you, the bath ready for you. That's the ultimate.
That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate dream. Yes.
That's the ultimate experience. Yeah. So that way, I'll get back. Oh, my bath decided. My house has to run me a nice bath. Nice,
just
nice
don't get in a
shower.
bad mood on the way home, because change the mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get home. So change the temperature of your shower. That's good. So, and from an innovation point of view, we talked about obviously the home hub, sort of the connected home. Scenario. With showrooms, how do you feel on showrooms for the future? How's that space going to be?
So I think that's an evolving. That's a big debate, I guess. With
Yeah,
everybody.
it
It's
is,
not just in this industry, but in
the retail,
but in retail in general. So the world is changing, and it's up. The showrooms themselves, you are going to get people who want to go and touch it and feel it and have a look at it.
Yep.
You are going to get those who want to, so confident they'll buy something online.
Yep.
There's usually a price barrier for buying things online without looking at things.
Yep.
Will that boundary increase? Time will tell. But for a considered purchase, most people still want to go and touch it and feel it.
Yep.
The risk to the showroom then is do they touch it and feel it and then go somewhere else, and the trick there is to try and get that balance right, so that they can touch it and feel it and order it online inside the stores.
A lot of the national retailers have done that, haven't they?
They've done that, and actually if you look at other industries, if you look at the retail sector, you go and buy a suit, so you walk in there to some of these nice some of these well-known brands, and you try the suits on, all fits very well. And then they'll come up with an iPad and say, right, would you like to order one now? And that kind of kind of strikes that balance. Maybe that's some sort of an idea that you come into the
Well, I had an idea a couple of years ago that in London, where shop space is a premium, I figured the best way to do that would be to turn the back of the stores into housing, because there's a housing shortage. Then the front of the store, make it into a situation where you can try everything on and one of each item or something, try it all on, and actually, do you want to order? Click a button, and then by the time you get home, because you have a 2-hour delivery slot, by the time you get home, it's already been delivered to your house in a pigeonhole, and you haven't got to carry the bags around anymore.
So that's the next. I mean, that is the next. That's part of innovation, if you like. Is exactly that. Is to stand behind the delivery, so people want to order it now, and they want to receive it now. So that's the trick to it. Some parts of the world, people have coffee shops, and then in the coffee shops they create this whole retail environment, so you can come and have a look, and then you can order online whilst you're there. So
well, I think Next have gone some way to do that. I was in Next on Friday, and they've now got like Paper Chase and Next. They've got Costa Coffee in there.
Correct.
They've got now Mama and Papa's in there. So they've made themselves into a little mini department store or a destination store, and that's obviously supporting their retail side. And I think that's a great innovative idea and changing the way, because people can't go and get coffee online. They can, but you can't have it delivered and drunk there and then. So you need to go and get that. So I think, I agree. I think showrooms need to evolve, in my opinion. I worked in showroom for 6 years, set it up and run it for 6 years, and I think that needs to evolve that market. Perfect example would be like you sell it as a car. So buy your bathroom, it's the price. But if you want these optional extras, you want to upgrade from a standard manual shower to your thermostatic shower or to your smart shower. These are your extra overage prices, but actually don't know the base price. I think that's a better way.
And also, some people want to talk to a human being as well. So they see it and they say, "Well, I'd like to know a little bit more," especially in the car industry. You just want to go and buy a car online and you want to go and have a look at some of the stuff.
Doesn't happen, does it?
Doesn't happen.
No, not really.
So you could put that into the shower industry as well, especially premium showers.
Definitely. No, that's really good. So, Paul, your position in Aqualisa, what is it? Sorry, your title?
Director of Product,
Director of Product. Okay.
Marketing and Innovation.
Marketing innovation. Innovation is a key thing for me. But if we just take you back to school.
School.
School. So you didn't see that coming, did you? So So when you left school, did you always want to be in charge of sort of like products and innovation? Was that something you were very passionate about then, or did you want to be a footballer, or what was your sort of passion at school?
I wanted to do technical drawing. I liked that as a subject.
Yep.
So drawing, components.
Yep.
Drawing products. I liked it. I was good at it, and so that's what I wanted to do.
Yep.
But beyond that, I didn't know what it meant.
Okay, that's cool. That's really interesting you should say that, because that's what a lot of people struggle with. They've got a talent, which has been talent, and it could be in football, could be in technical drawing, as you say, and they don't know where to take it from there, and they think maybe they want to be a car designer or a rocket ship designer, but obviously showers is a far distance from that sort of the glory of being a car designer maybe, and that sort of stuff.
Actually, I did end up starting in showers.
Perfect. Oh, did you?
Strangely, yeah. But at school, the careers advice people, when I mentioned this, they pointed me towards architects, which wasn't going to work at 16. You need to go to a university, do an architect's degree.
Yep.
Whereas I just wanted to work in a drawing office at that stage. So I applied for several apprenticeships and got offered several, but one of them, Red Wing Electric, said I could do an apprenticeship there and finish in the drawing office.
Okay, cool. So you went for that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you in showers
right from the beginning.
From the very beginning.
1979.
Wow, yeah, really good. Okay, clever. And no, it's good though. It's obviously you innovator in showering, So from there, you spent your time there. You obviously got your apprenticeship and went through that. You were then in the drawing office and technical drawing.
Yep.
And then where did it go from there?
I moved after about 8 years. I moved to Power Tools, to a company called Kango Wolf Power Tools.
Yep.
The Kango name still exists. It sold some time ago.
Yep.
And Kango, in some ways, is like Hoover is with vacuum cleaners.
Yep.
Kango is the jackhammer for.
It is. Everyone calls them a Kango. Yeah. Even if it's a Bosch one or a DeWalt one, it's still called a Kango.
Yeah.
So you went there, and again, product again, design.
Design.
Yeah. Design.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where did you fall after that? To.
I had a very short period at a company called Russell Hobbs.
Yeah. I'm sure most people have heard of them.
Only a year.
Yep.
This was they were owned by Polypec, which I think was the first company that collapsed, huge conglomerate that collapsed. So I only lasted a year there.
Yep.
They were sold off to Pifco.
Okay.
So I moved on to Vax, into vacuum cleaners.
Yep. Designing vacuum cleaners. Okay. Really interesting. It's good. Could we think of where Aqualisa came a little bit later on with the Dyson connection with David Hollander for a little bit, didn't we? So we had that on there. And then, when did you end up at Aqualisa?
It was after Vax.
Okay, cool.
I joined Aqualisa in 1995.
Yep.
January 95, yeah.
Okay, cool. January 1995. And again, product design, was it then?
Yeah,
okay.
Just product design.
Just product design.
Yeah.
Okay. And so where, the passion with innovation, is it just purely about solving problems?
Yeah, I think it is. And I find that a great way of innovating.
Yep.
In fact, you've just pulled me out of an innovation session.
Have I? Oh no, we've just...
But again, we started by looking at the two customers, the installer and the end user. And so what don't they like about installing showers?
Yep.
Because it's difficult for people to tell you what they want, because their vision is really based on what exists today. Whereas if you ask them what they don't like, then we can try and solve that problem with new things, new ideas.
Yep. Okay, cool. And then, so you were here for a while, and obviously you worked on a project for the quartz, which you could argue is probably up until the Q, the biggest change in showering the UK market, maybe even the world has even seen.
Yeah, it was a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I remember that coming out and being launched, and it was. I think there was two sides of it that I saw, and you'll have a better insight to me than. But there was one side that was the tradesman side, who was the installation, the ease of installation. That was something that was key. It was really hammered home for me on a trade counter.
Yeah.
But I think there was the consumer message about how the ease of use and longevity, which is it's that two sides.
Yeah, and that's how it was developed.
Yeah.
Again, the bimetal technology we had, the patent was coming to an end. And so what could we do going forwards? What new idea could we have?
Yep.
So the obvious thing was to look at electronics. Because you can have electronic thermostats to control water temperature, stepper motors to control valves. So what could we do with electronics?
Yep.
But it was split into how can we make it easier to install and how can we make it easier to use.
Yep.
and the easy to install was really focused on the excavation in a wall to fit a concealed shower, which is the most beautiful looking shower. How can you do that without excavating the wall? By taking the valve out of the shower and putting it in the airing cupboard, under the bath, in the loft, was the obvious way forward. But even with that idea, there was still a question mark about how do you get the mixed water into the bathroom without excavation? How do you get the control cable into the bathroom? And then there was a eureka moment one day looking at these display boards that we use and looking at the riser rail and suddenly thinking, if we punch that through the ceiling, you could bring the mixed water down the riser rail and the data cable, and you're into the bathroom with just one hole in the ceiling.
You say it's obvious removing the valve from the bathroom. Obvious maybe to yourself, but many other people have tried coming up with new ideas with showers and not succeeding with that digital innovation. You know, there's other brands that have tried it and it's not succeeded. So yes, taking it away was one thing, but like you say, the eureka moment of coming through, but the technology behind it, is it just what's made the big difference for Aqualisa being the one that's really still today the stable name in the whole of this market? Does that make sense?
Yeah, perhaps because we were first mover advantage.
Yeah.
I think the exposed version that goes through the ceiling was critical to it being adopted by installers.
Yep.
They get used to the product, installing it that way, and they may use the concealed version as well after that.
Yep.
But to actually get them to adopt the product, it needs to be really easy to install. And even, you know, on day one of the launch, it didn't take off.
No.
It still took a while for installers to grasp it. And even if you gave one away free, they wouldn't install it within the week. It may be 2, 3, 4 weeks before they've installed it. But once they've installed it, they were converted.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually installed 2 in my house, in my mum and dad's house, and in both instances, it's so simple to install.
I did 2 back in 2001.
Yeah.
But,
so it is
easy. Yeah,
it is easy to do, and arguably, a lot of installers when it first came out, I remember them saying, "Oh, it's too quick to install," because they were charging people, you know, a few £100 a day to install.
It's a day and a half job sometimes.
Yeah, and then straight away it's like, oh, it's almost too quick. You know, you have to go away for some more tea breaks to the van or something. So
you can get plenty of space when you're connecting up to a valve inside a wall. There's not much space, but this box is just on a shelf somewhere. It's very easy to work on.
So much easier, yeah. So continuing moving forward, obviously quartz has been there for a long time. A lot of people have got the quartz in their house. Moving forward now, you've got the Q that's been launched. What was the driving force for that?
That's more difficult for me to answer.
Okay.
I've only been back 11 days.
Have you? I didn't know that. That's cool. That's perfect. Okay, cool. So going forward then, with obviously you've got Q because Q's now passed. So what's the new driving force for you coming back here? What obviously you've been away and come back again.
Yeah.
Obviously passionate about the brand, I'm sure.
Yeah.
To come back, what's new pushing forward innovation?
One of the reasons I came back is this is probably the best company I've worked for. And in the late 90s, the development of some products and the digital shower quartz was really exciting.
Yep.
And in some ways, I think there's unfinished business. I was here for the launch
Yep.
in the first year, but then did an internal group move up to the northwest to work at a boiler company.
Yep.
But there was lots more to do with it, and lots has been done. But I still think, personally, I've got some more things I could do.
Okay, so we're going to see some new, really interesting stuff coming forward in the future. We were talking earlier to Colin and Adam as well, actually, with both the smart home, because you know, which way do you go? Is Google going to win? Is Amazon Alexa going to win? Is Apple going to win? You know, and you need to be there on all sides if you're going to go for smart home. And how do you sort of mix in between all those?
It is complicated to get it right.
Yeah.
In my last company, we were working on a home robot, so we got quite involved in IoT.
Yep.
So it's interesting coming here to look at a product that sits on the edge of IoT, part of it, but not central. And how do you make that work? How do you give the consumer a real advantage? Because it sounds good to say, you know, it's an Internet of Things, it's connected, but instead of talking about the features, I need to focus on what the customer benefit will be. Why would they want that? Because sometimes it's complex to get that to work. So it's got to have real value.
Yeah.
And we do have some ideas.
Yeah, it's cool. I was just saying to Colin a minute ago, if you imagine that you've had a bad day at work because you've got your Google Home Hub sat on your desk, or your Google Home sat on your desk, and it's listened to your conversations, and you've had a bad day because it's picked up on your tone of voice and what's been going on, and thinks, do you know what, when you get home I'm going to run you a bath, you know. And you laugh. That to me is, I think, the advantage of how the artificial intelligence to listen to conversations, which ultimately is happening, and then you think, well, that's the ultimate of how that can really add value to me. So I get home and the bath's run, it's all done, or it's ordered me a takeaway because it knows I like this takeaway when I've had a bad day, or does that make sense?
No, it does, and I can see that. You look into the future and say, in an ideal world, it would read what you're thinking and deliver it.
Yeah.
And then you step back from that and say, okay, but what can I deliver in the next 2 to 3 years?
Of course.
And that would be you going on your mobile phone and saying, run me a bath.
Yeah, of course.
Or speaking to your mobile phone through Siri or something and saying.
Yeah.
And that's much more viable in the next couple of years. That's
yeah.
Probably 20 years.
Yeah, of course. No, and that's the innovative part, isn't it? And it's trying to keep up with it. I mean, there's some, and this is the thing that frustrates me, is that you try, as a consumer, you try and buy a piece of technology today, because we don't know which one of them races is going to win.
No.
So you sit on one of them, and it doesn't connect to this one or this one, and then you buy another one, and actually, in my house, you end up having 3 or 4 different devices that ultimately are all smart, but don't actually talk to each other today. I'm sure at some point that will all mix up, but at the minute, it seems to be sat across 3 different platforms.
The same's happened with vision and sound, doesn't it? With music and watching movies, how that's changed over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Several different systems.
Yeah.
Now you just download it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't even buy albums anymore. I just download the track.
Yep.
I want.
Or you just stream it from the cloud,
Yeah.
if you're on Spotify or Apple Music.
With the courts, we talked about the installer, and it certainly back in the late 90s, the installer had a huge part of the decision and what you should buy, sort of thing. But we still wanted to make the product easier for the end user, and there were a few problems or challenges. One was turning the product on. It sounds silly, but if you designed a nice looking control knob that was shaped in the wrong way, your hand would slip off it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which obviously was an awful thing to do, because all you need to do is turn the shower on. So it was obvious that the easiest way to turn the shower on is just press a button. And the approach, whether it's installer or consumer, was always, must be easy. So there's nothing easier than just pressing a button, switch it on. And so that's why we went for a button. For temperature, we felt that people like to dial it in, a rotary knob, and so we went for that. But the problem with mechanical mixer valves is that they suffer from friction and stiction, and therefore they're difficult to turn.
Yep.
And worse than that, with a wax thermostat or a bimetal strip, you only get a small degree of angular movement for quite a large jump in temperature. So you've got this very stiff device that you're trying to turn, at 1 degree of movement to change the temperature, which is not easy to do.
No.
Whereas with an electronic shower, like quartz, you can have a non-linear response to the angular movement. So the first 5 degrees can change the temperature quite rapidly till you get round to the showering range, and you can have a wide arc of movement to change between 38 and 41 degrees.
Yeah, half a degree increments almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, to know the shower's up to temperature, it sounds like not much effort to put your hand in the water to check, but it drips down your arm, drips out, and actually when we put the light on that flashed and then stopped flashing when it reached temperature, when you try that, it was just felt so good. At first I thought it's not really a benefit, it's just a feature and we shouldn't do it, because I wanted simplicity.
Yep.
When I installed one and tried it, one of the prototypes, it was obvious that was a great idea.
Yeah, that's good. That sounds.
But it's all about simplicity still.
Yeah, I think people sort of like the simplicity, whereas we all like to have complex things. And if you think about your phone today, it can do hundreds and hundreds of things, but generally the simple little tasks that you want it to do, they're the ones you go after, and you actually rely on it for that. And like a shower, you want to, in the morning, it's part of your morning routine. What you don't really want is something too complex that's going to be
You're half asleep as well.
Yeah, a pain to use, or you've got to go through lots and lots of dialing, lots of presets. And that's what I know, the Q has got the presets if you need to use them, but equally you can just turn it on and off. And that's something that I
You want a simple mode.
Yeah, simple
You
mode.
see, a phone, I don't know how many times a day you use it, hundreds of times a day. So you easily remember what to do. Whereas a shower, once a day, twice a day, like a heating controller, I think you maybe change that every 6 months.
Yeah.
So if it's not simple, you won't know how to use it. phone is complex, but because you use it hundreds of times a day, you soon get to know how to use it.
Yep.
Whereas something that's used once a day, it's very different.
That's true.
Cool.
So, from a point of view of Aqualisa, today's come across very, very apparent that there's sort of one Aqualisa family. Does that make sense? And everyone's sort of one team, and everyone sort of works together really well. And obviously, your role from the sort of the development stage, that's Aqualisa taking a big passion into the staff, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. Absolutely. I think we take customer service very seriously.
Yep.
Right from the induction stage that an agent will come in and sort of going through their career. So we have a very intensive training and competency program.
Yep.
It's around about 5-6 weeks. Looking at all products, looking at all of our policies, various areas of compliance as well, looking at external policies, call structure. So it's a rather pretty intensive sort of 5-6 weeks. Between that includes mentoring on the phones to gain experience, so they get opportunities to apply that knowledge throughout that sort of program.
Yep.
To sort of trying to really sort of glue it all together.
Do you on purposely make difficult calls to them? Do you actually actively take difficult calls, or not?
No,
Not a Big Brother watching them sort of scenario.
I would like to do that actually.
Yeah.
I'd like to sort of do some more live mystery shop
Yep.
type calls. It was something that I brought in as a potential objective when I first joined learning and development, but I think there could be some benefit from doing that.
Yep.
To really test someone's grit when it comes to complaint resolution
Yeah.
or overcome an objection.
Yep.
I think the guys are pretty well equipped for that, but whatever resources are available to better that, why not take them up?
Well, if they can overcome it in training, it's better to do it than when they have a real life
absolutely.
scenario with a customer, because they're now sort of ready to sort of accept that challenge and sort of take down all the resistance with the customer.
Absolutely, yeah,
With,
absolutely.
With the showering for you as a brand, did you always want to get into showering, or was it?
No, I've always
Were you
been quite technical.
Yep.
So I worked sales for Vodafone.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a background in technical and sort of like problem solving. The role actually was just ideal for me given my circumstances at home at the time.
Cool.
And I've always liked customer service. I always like the sort of more technical side of things, and that's what got me initially into the business. But I like it here, and when it's where it initially sort of suited my needs for home, that all changed. But I like the job, I like the company and the people. I then went from part-time to full-time, was given the opportunity of moving to learning and development as a coach.
Yep.
Then the opportunity came up as acting L&D manager, and I've every intention of staying here for a long time. They tend to celebrate people's success and hone people's skills.
Sorry, that's my fault. I don't even know where it is. It's in my pocket. I can hear it. I don't even know how to...
I was on a roll there.
Sorry, you carry on.
Sorry, where were we? I was saying about celebrating people's sort of success. It is a company that looks to recruit from within if the skills are there,
Yep.
And if you put the hard work in, which I like to think I have. You are recognised and you're given opportunities, and that's another thing that, aside from the small company feel in a largely growing company,
Yep.
we've still got that kind of, like you say, a tight knit kind of family feel. That's aside from that, the opportunities that you are presented with are another reason why I like staying here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how do you find the coaching role rewarding?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, absolutely. I've always liked helping people.
Yep.
But I like taking someone who's good and making them better. It can be quite a creative role in terms of how you actually appeal to different learning types, how you work with a different variety of people as well. Getting through to people who may not be as receptive in coaching as others.
Yep.
Maybe a bit more objection that comes up, but seeing the results. At the other end, and that can be from someone who's struggling or someone who's just started, seeing them go from a nervous agent with a lot of sort of apprehension to someone who's in a year's time training other new starters. And I always say this, I always say to people, look, give it a year, you'll be you'll be sitting where your mentor is right now, and you'll be showing them the ropes.
Yeah. It's quite difficult when you think of young people leaving school and then trying to find a job in an industry, whether it be Aqualisa or another industry, and they look at other people and think, oh wow, they're doing really well and that kind of stuff. Well, they're just starting, and to see that sometimes you struggle to comprehend in this sort of, I've mentioned it before, this sort of modern day world of being really fast, and they expect, 2 months time I'm going to get promotion,
Absolutely.
and it takes time, as you mentioned before. You're saying, in a year's time you'll be like that person. So, well, a year to them feels like a long time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. No, I'd say the older I get, the quicker the years seem to pass by. But yeah, I think so. I think it's just about things aren't instant, in life, and I think that you need to encourage hard work, encourage a bit of dedication and a bit of pride in your work.
Yeah, it takes time.
And it does reap rewards. There's no quick fix, but it's worth the work, And I think that there are many people in Aqualisa that would agree with that. It's not a quick thing, but you put the work in and eventually it will pay off. I mean, there's many people I know that have moved from customer service, from the phones, to a variety of different roles, because the opportunities are there with a bit of time and a bit of effort.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
that's really good. That's great. And showering yourself, we've mentioned a bit about innovation today and the future, and obviously, not per se your area as such, but Aqualisa is a forefront of innovation in the industry within the bathroom world. What for you sort of the big things to take out talking to customers when you've been on the phone, the customers who really enjoyed the experience? What sort of any key things there that customers have said to you while they've really enjoyed the Aqualisa product?
Digital stands out in a large way. I mean, that's where we want to take things anyway. I think we're market leaders in that respect, and I think we just continue to push and innovate there. But I think digital showering is we perceive to be the way forward, and certainly the feedback from customers is the same. Yeah. I think the flexibility and customisation of some of the higher end or newer products is a real selling point for people. The fact you can have your own flow setting, your own temperature settings, things like that, is an appeal for people. No messing around, just push the button, it's set up for you, and off you go. So that's been very positive, I would say. Certainly with the launch of Q, and some of the some sort of revamped older products as well. They've been well received.
Yeah. So when you left school, what was your aspiration? What did you want to be?
Art and design was my thing, actually.
Yeah.
So I did A-levels in design technology, IT, and in fine art. Moved on to university. I didn't actually finish that course, unfortunately, but I still do that on the side now. But I did a variety of jobs, to be honest with you, quite varied. I suppose just like some youngsters, I didn't really know what I necessarily wanted to do.
Nope.
And I think when you're 16, trying to make those decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life, quite difficult to make sometimes,
Yeah.
But I got sort of typecast in more manual roles. And it was nice that, again, to be fair, Aqualisa, they give me a bit more of an opportunity to push myself and show what I could do outside of those sort of manual roles, really, So
It seemed definitely to support their people and the staff. That's something that's come across today several times.
Oh, absolutely, I 100% agree with that, very much
good.
so, yeah.
And for me, it's like, when you're young and you're leaving school, everyone looks to people who are more mature and may say, oh yeah, they've been doing this for a while, I want to be in their position. But what they forget is it takes that amount of time.
Absolutely,
and that's what we mentioned a minute ago with, not knowing you didn't know what you wanted to do.
No, certainly not. No, something creative. Ultimately, it is, but it's a different kind of creative to what I expected. And I had that little sort of lull with manual work, some sales roles. But I think that the most opportunity that I've had and the most growth I've had has definitely been in here, in these walls. And it's pushed me to do things that maybe I wouldn't have chosen to do myself. In terms of if I looked at a job role, I would have potentially shied away from it. But the fact that you're in here and you're given the opportunity and you're given the drive to do it and encouraged, I think that does help. Give you a bit of direction and give yourself a chance that maybe you wouldn't have given yourself. So.
And do you think that's down to a lot of the leadership within the business and the management teams and the management structure?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky enough with my manager to she gave me a lot of opportunities with new tasks within the within the team. You know, I like to think I proved myself capable,
Yep.
but she identified that and gave me these opportunities that, again, wholly on my own I may have shied away from, but you know, you're encouraged.
You felt
And,
confident to give it a go, and what's the worst that could happen?
yeah,
sort of thing,
absolutely. Yeah, very much so. And then every task that comes up, you overcome that, and you think, okay, what's next? Yeah, I feel much more confident in this sort of business environment compared to where I was even 4 years ago when I joined. You know, I like to think I had a good work ethic and I worked hard, but I've picked up a lot of new experience, a lot of new skills, certainly within the last couple of years. And that's as a result of my work, my hard work, but also the opportunity has been given to me.
Yeah, really good. No, brilliant.
This war came about on waste, as we'll call it, or the awareness of waste came about because of the multinationals not caring about the waste in society and basically pushing that problem onto yourselves and governments to deal with their problem. And this is about highlighting the awareness to people and to give the training necessary so that we're not one of them corporations that have taken that mindset.
Yeah, that's really good. So, Paul, so from the point of view of the awareness, you know, of pollution and recycling plastics at Aqualisa, why is it important? And you know, that's the
well,
that's
it's
our first
important
question.
because any truly sustainable business balances three elements, and they are people, planet, and profit. And profit, even in this day and age, is not a dirty word, but profit becomes a dirty word when people or their planet are being harmed.
Yep.
And that is the reason why we do the presentation, is to tie all these three things together and to make you aware that we need to do more for the environment.
Yeah. So, what has Aqualisa actually been doing then over the period of time? Have you got that now?
Well, what we've done, we've produced awareness. So basically we've run out this campaign that usually takes about 45-minute presentation, and what we have is we have waste champions on one side, and they're the ones in the areas who look for where we can save either money through recycling or reduce through just for not needing it. And they pass that information on to me, and then we usually do newsletters, so we focus on that one thing of the month.
Yep.
So the last newsletter was mainly about banning plastic cups and bottles within the business.
Yep.
Because this presentation that we produced talks about the 450 billion plastic bottles that get put into the system every year. And we go into depth on that. I mean, if you think about it, 450 billion bottles, that's halfway to the sun that we're producing year on year. So we bring these things to light to say, look, recycling works and it can save money, but if you was to reuse that bottle, that's another one that's not done. And some of the slides will show waste and money. And the idea is that waste is a loaded word. It isn't waste. So I'll give you an example. If somebody comes along and takes your pallets and tells you they're scrap, you're going to buy them pallets back at some point, or you're going to repair them. So we look at things and we say, right, what is this? Has it got a cost? So it can be anything. It can be waste, and you go, has it got a cost? How do I make that cost neutral? And this is done financially, but people think, well, why are you talking about the environment? You're talking financially. Well, I'll give you the example. Black plastic wrap, 150,000 litres we were doing, I don't know if it was month on month, and they were going into general waste bins which go to landfill because they're not recyclable, not because of the plastic but because of the technology. If you turn that into clear wrap, you're now getting it recycled. And that's just what this does. It's just about education. And then if you get that clear wrap and you can't reduce it but you bale it, you can sell it, and you've got CNC, cost neutral credit. And that's what this is about.
So finding sort of innovative ways in trying to reduce the actual packaging materials for when you're dispatching from here, from like even the manufacturing materials.
Yeah, there has been a packaging reduction scheme run by purchasing.
Yep.
But going behind why we talk about this in great depth is I believe, and the business believes, in a push and pull attitude. Because part of the problem that I believe worldwide is that the consumer and the retailers are not asking enough upon the people they're buying the product off. We all talk about reducing waste or reducing costs, but then we want to go and wrap everything in plastic, as you see in supermarkets.
Yeah.
So we have done a plastic reduction campaign, and going back to the push and pull, the push for me should be, purchasing should be going out there and saying to everybody, you know, we've got this campaign, I don't want to keep things coming in, so the cardboard gets wrapped in plastic, why? So let's stop that. You've reduced the cost. I know people don't want to talk about cost when we talk about the environment, but you think about it, you take that packaging off, you don't need to dispose of it.
Yep.
So you're saving the environment, you're saving the cost. And then the pull attitude should be, we work with you. And we say to you, what are you going to do to help us? And you should be coming to us, being aware of all the environmental problems, and saying, well, we don't want this in your boxes, or we want smaller boxes.
Yeah. Well, it is even for us as a business. So, every day you get a recycling bin at work, and we've got a standard general waste bin. But every day, literally, our recycling bin goes out from the actual warehouse full of all different things, from plastics to cardboards, and so much of it is completely wasteful. As you'll see, like pallets coming in, they got a whole item stacked up there. It's wrapped, and people wrap it with another plastic. Sometimes it's a hot shrink wrap plastic as well, which obviously is too much waste.
Too much waste. So, what have we done as a business? The facts. So we have 2 waste streams in this business. We have what's called general waste. And if you walk around site, which you'll be doing today, you'll see black and green bins. That general waste between, I think it was, from 2016 to December 2017, we was creating over 2.5 million litres of general waste in that period of time.
Wow.
And the first thing we did was take the CNC approach and just say to ourselves, why? So we went down the route of banning 2 bins straight away. That takes 250,000 litres out. And then we went through this educational area to say, look, if you use a green bin versus the black bin, this has got more chance of being recycled. And every bin on site saves you £10. So not only are you going to save an £8,000 saving year on year once you've got rid of these black bins and put green bins in, you're also taking 1 million litres out of your campaign. So you're actually now only got 1.5 million litres going to general waste. And the idea about doing the presentation is once you've had a presentation, we come into your area, we introduce a green bin, so we have to supply the tools to do the job. It's great doing presentations, but if you don't supply the tools, how are they going to segregate?
Yeah, you've got to actually implement it at level and get everyone on board, haven't you?
Yeah, and we segregate down to the level. We bale cardboard, we sell our pallets, we split our metals up. All these was being charged for and taken off site. And we break them down into waste streams where if somebody's willing to pay for that waste, there's a good chance that it's going to get reused. It's not going to get packaged up and put on a boat to China.
So plastic would be a big one as well, would it?
Plastic for us from the malt shop isn't too bad. But we've the tendency, rather than to try and sell the plastic as waste, is to take it to RDF, which is better than landfill.
What's RDF?
Refuse derived fuel. So the government now, because they're struggling with landfill rates, are also doing this. They're taking a lot of the stuff that would have gone to landfill and they're burning it to try and put a control on it. It's not the future for me. I tend to try and go to the source. So the mould shop were producing a lot of reject components for reasons, and we've done a full investigation. We have fishbone diagrams now, and that waste has dropped down. And the way to do this is I have all the waste comes to me. You cannot throw anything in this business away without me knowing. And that then triggers the alarm bells.
You can analyse it.
Analyse it, prevent it, and reuse it. And going back to reuse and spreading this word, if you're moving house, I'm your best friend. You don't need to go on the internet to buy cardboard boxes. You see me. We recycle our boxes internally. We use them back in the business. We've probably got 5,000 floating around. Because people don't understand that a cardboard box, when you throw it in a compactor or a baler, gets turned to pulp to become a cardboard box. Yeah. Our cardboard boxes are double fluted. So you want to move house, you come and see me, you take my box, you take the recycled bubble wrap that we've saved, and I'll give you some sellotape for free. It belongs to me. When you've done with it, we take it back. And out of that, it's trying to trigger that alarm bell. Wow, I didn't have to buy them boxes. I reused.
Yeah, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
Cardboard boxes are decent. Cardboard boxes are expensive to purchase. No, that's good. So you're helping the staff, the local people as well, or just the staff?
At the moment in time, this is basically done internally until we get, until we ourselves are squeaky clean, until we've learnt from our own lessons.
Yep.
It is getting better. I mean, next year I've set a target through this campaign alone to take another 250,000 litres out of the business. So we're going to be banning plastic cups. We're putting water refill stations in to encourage people to reuse water bottles rather than to go to the canteen machine and keep filling cups up to top up. This awareness campaign has had people now approach Colin for a budget about should we do beach clear-ups or should we now go and work with the parishes to do clear-ups of rubbish to get this message across.
Yep.
And there is potential for that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of environmentally friendly sort of messages as well as the sustainability going forward. See in both sides of it, you as a business trying to not only recycle your waste but getting people, the staff mentality behind it.
Yeah,
that's a big area.
I will always say this: recycling is important. Reduce and reuse is the most important. If you want to make a difference to the environment, they're the only two words.
Yep.
Reduce and reuse. And that is, the recycling gets the understanding there for the people, but getting them to reduce and reuse is the key to start helping the environment.
Okay, cool, excellent.
So this slide is basically the end of the presentation, and it tells you the facts.
Okay.
But the most important fact that we try and put across is that every year 1 million seabirds are dying from plastic pollution. We're not even going into the other wildlife. We're not even going into the other things. And it's their planet too. And then we support that by we running our own campaigns. Now you might see them, or when you come to my area, you'll find that we make our own posters.
Yep.
So they don't really even have to say anything. And one of the most powerful posters to me will be this one. It's the picture of jellyfish and plastic. And I asked the question at the end of the meeting, which is the most dangerous? And people say the plastic, but they don't understand why.
No.
So when you look at that Drake Beach on that one, I believe it is, they're losing their fishing industry and their tourism industry for one reason alone. Not just because they're bankrupt. Because plastic pollution kills the fish. The fish now are not predatory jellyfish. The plastic pulls up onto the shores, so you don't want to go there.
Yep.
And if you can go and paddle when they've cleaned the plastic up, you tangle the jellyfish.
Yep.
And I usually would finish this presentation by saying, this isn't just about the environment, this is going to become about people in the end. Somali pirates didn't necessarily want to be Somali pirates. We destroyed their environment, so they had to become pirates for a living. What are the poorest coastlines of the world going to do when they've got no fish? Where will they turn? Because they're not going to turn to peaceful ferocious.
No, that's true.
And the final part of our communique, which would look better in colour, but I refuse to print, is this is newsletter number 3.
Yep.
And this has started around the focus of the month. So every month we'll have a focus on what we're going to do within the business to spread this message. So this month is about trialling water dispensers for bottles, and we're going to start banning cups in areas and banning drinks machine from producing cups. We're going to take the bottles out of the vending machines. But everything is done slowly, and some people I know want to run. But the one thing I've learned about recycling is if you push and take everything away straight away, you become negative. If you do this education program and feed this into them, I will get a more of 100% support, and not to be seen as a punishment.
But in the industry, there's other brands that are also doing the same sort of thing, sort of putting in water dispensers across the industries. Everywhere you go now, you see in supermarkets, they're trying to get the water dispensers in there. So it isn't just Aqualisa, I think it's everybody's starting to get more environmentally friendly. And I was just going back to a passion of mine, which is fitness. But if you think that if you go back sort of 10 years ago, you didn't see many people going out running and getting very fit. Does that make sense? I think there's definitely a cultural change coming with people with the environment. Recently plastic straws being taken out everywhere. I know it's only a small little move, but it's certainly a high profile, and in being in the news all the time, that's making a big difference. And with you guys as a very big manufacturer involved every day in sort of reducing, and then obviously with the staff and education as well, I think that's really clever.
Well, I tend to follow if I find something that works. So basically what's pushing us, or the idea that pushes on the dispensers, Sky, they've banned plastic bottles in their business. They've saved over 450,000 bottles a year by giving everybody their own plastic bottle and cup and putting in water dispensers. So I've basically said through this presentation, if Sky can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
And Collins straight away jumped in and backed that. So yeah, I mean, I try not to try and follow the herd too much. I believe sometimes if the herd are running in one direction, you should run in the other.
Well, that's very true sometimes.
But if I can see somebody who's got an initiative, then I will follow theirs and make it work. Copying, there's nothing wrong with copying if it works.
Yeah, well, it's the awareness, isn't it? Like you mentioned the awareness. You're trying to create the awareness within the business and get everyone on board as well from a top-down strategy, but also the news. Anything in the media that's the news will help your case, won't it?
Well, we use the news to support our newsletters. So newsletter number 2 talks about the PRN note system. Now, if you work in waste, you'll understand what I mean. And the PRN note system is how we distribute our waste across the world. And if you look at government figures on their sites, they will show you that we recycle 44% of the waste. What they fail to tell you is that 20% of that is landfill, 10% is card. And a lot of this waste was getting shipped to China. So China brought in an international operation SOAR because the waste they were getting back wasn't truly recyclable. So if you've got recyclable waste with food still in it or pop still in it, then it's called wet waste. And this is the reason why we do this education again, to say, look, if it's going in the green bin, it needs to be green waste.
Yep.
And once they put international operation SOAR in, the problem is that waste is now going to the poorer countries, Thailand, Indonesia and all that lot, who don't have the infrastructure China had to do it. And the problem is this waste will end up sat on sites for the rest of its life, just decaying and rotting, and eventually breaking down and getting into the waterways. So
Not good.
no.
Not good. No, really good. Thank you very much for that. It was awesome. Really,
Thank you.
really educational. Thank you.